Hello, everyone. Please say something.
Hi.
Your volume is so
Hello.
loud.
Oh,
So
hello.
loud. Okay, great. Alright, so we have RATJAMMER, face reveal, we have ImRhinne, we have Oran, and we have Ascient here. RATJAMMER, please start with introducing yourself.
My name's RATJAMMER. Hello. I play Jackie. I got nothing more to say than that, really.
Alright. ImRhinne, you go next. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rin. I'm your guys' favorite e-girl. Ooh woo.
Okay, yes.
Right.
There were two NA players. Oran, please introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Oren. I'm a Magnus abuser. I'm also your favorite EU eagle. Ooh woo.
Ooh, again, Ascient, our last EU player, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Ascient. I'm possibly the greatest player ERBS has ever seen. That's all I have to say.
Alright, great. Thank you. This is already like saying a lot about your personalities for this incoming podcast. Alright, so for chat, we're going to have a Q&A at the very end. You can see our menu with topics in the top right. You'll see your own chat in the bottom right. So you can already ask questions in chat, and at the end, our mods will collect them all and we'll ask these players about it. Alright, first, we're going to start with the first topic. Urwi. It's been like 1 or 2 weeks now since it ended, our first international event where our players traveled to Korea. What are your thoughts about how the event went, first of all? The format was 20 games over 4 days. And they basically tallied points over those 20 games. How did it go? What did you think of it? Who wants to go first?
I liked the format. I thought it was pretty good. I think the quality of play was pretty low. It's their first tournament. I can't imagine they had access to that many high-level players, so it was hard to do. Optimally, I would have liked them to bring more NA, more Korea
Your mic
teams,
disappeared. Or did my sound
but
disappear?
overall, I think it was good. I think maybe over 3 days would have been better rather than 4.
Do you think it has something to do with it being squad format?
No, I like squads. I think it was fine. I think squads is great.
I mean, I think the game format was good, like the 5 games over days. That's a good idea. But squad sucks. Just play duos or something.
I think
I
squads
think
is
duos
fine.
and squads are both good. Yeah, they're both good.
I'm just not fine with like the level of competition in the tournament. Honestly, it's like I think when we watch like tournaments like that and we just see like two teams that are obviously just like mechanically superior, like they don't even have to path properly or do anything. They'll just hard steamroll the teams anyway. It makes it really boring for any spectator.
If
I
you
don't
would
know single
watch,
person.
yeah, if you were watching during like the day changes when it would scan everyone on the map, literally the good teams would wait till they see a fucking Sicella on the map and they would just raw port onto it and just say, hey, let's gap these guys. And it was pretty unfortunate to see a lot of points being scored like that. I don't think that's how people should be objectively playing the game.
Yeah, I mean that literally happened to J Gamers in over half of the games. They got farmed in Chapel by Team USA every time.
Yeah.
And if
Was that J
I'm
Gamers?
not-
J Gamers is in Japan, by the way.
I don't know which one is which.
That's the
Yeah, J Games was in
Um,
Chapel.
You're right. No,
Well,
you're right.
yeah,
You're right.
it was. I thought it was J Gamers, but they didn't adapt like at all at any point. I'm not saying that's because they were unprepared, but it kind of felt that way.
Yeah, no one really changed it up at all. They had no reason to.
Like J Game was the only team that needed to change something at some point because they just kept dying in the same place every time, and they just didn't. So that obviously got Team USA quite a lot of free points. Not that they didn't deserve the points; they did what they should have, but J Gamers did not adapt.
I mean, that was very questionable from them, but as far as I know, like J Gamers and the other non-USA teams were qualifiers, right?
Yes.
Like they had qualifiers to play, so technically they should be good, or were they just in regions with 0 players or something?
I mean, no one has squad practice either, right? That's also an issue. Don't you think
All
so,
those
at
teams
least?
played on Korea. If you look them up, they all have Korea histories. Every single team in that tournament play on the Korea server normally.
I see. I'm not sure if Japan actually had qualifiers or not. I heard some people say they got chosen because they're like streamers and stuff. But
No, I heard they did have qualifiers.
alright, yeah, so each are all like the best of their region, pretty much. Alright, what do you think of this? Sorry?
I was just gonna ask, how do you fix that then for future tournaments if you can't can you just not give Japan qualifiers anymore because they're
You-
terrible?
The level of play you have available for your tournament, and you just don't invite the teams that aren't up to standard. You just bring more NA teams, more China teams, more Korea teams.
I mean, the
And
easy way to fix it is just have like an underlying qualifier thing, right? Like a second qualifier where you have to like go through like whatever Korean teams end up being like the standard, right? So like you could have like qualifiers in Japan, and they have to run like another gauntlet when they get over to Korea, right? That creates more content as well, but it also makes it so the better teams end up pushing through, rather than having the clown fiesta we had.
yeah,
It should also probably be by server rather than region. Two regions didn't even have a single entry. Admittedly, that's probably due to COVID deadlines, and being in a rush up to get everyone there for the tournament. But if they did it by region, you'd expect a higher level of qualifiers per region. Because I think most of the teams that tournament all played in Korea.
they do all play on the Korea server. Team Japan, they're all literally platinum on the Korea server.
Yeah, that's
If
not
you
true.
look
One
up-
of them's gold 1.
True. One's gold 1, one's platinum, and the guy that's playing Jackie was diamond 2. They all play on the Korea server, and that like the Stella, for example, had like 3,000 games played. They're very clearly not up to standard what the tournament should be holding.
Okay, what do you guys
I thought he
think of
had
this?
5,000.
Yes, Rin? What to say?
I thought he had 5,000, not 3,000. But
No,
it
that's
doesn't
an
matter.
NA player you're thinking of.
Is an NA player with 5,000?
I don't. Let's not get into it.
Let's put the
Continue.
details. Alright, let's move on to the score system. We did the Korean score system, which had like 5 flat points per kill, and placement had like 16 for first place, 14 for second place if I recall correctly, and so on. What do you think about the score system compared to the one we have in ERCL, which is a lot
I like it.
more placement based? You like it? How come?
I think kills should be rewarded. I think that's where most of the content comes from. You want to reward teams for actively fighting, looking for points. Ratty Note creates very boring gameplay, and it creates a lot of situations that aren't very enjoyable in the game. When you see a bunch of people just hiding out inside of brushes, cheesing away points from teams that are actually placing highly looking for kills.
I'd
Fuck
agree.
those guys.
The only thing I didn't like was the -5 points per death. If it wasn't due to a kill,
Yes.
I felt that
No, I
felt a
disagree.
little bit unfair in some situations.
Why?
Because denying the kill yourself is still something. You know, it's still a tactic. So why should
No
you
one
get punished for
actually did it though, and when Team USA did it, I don't think they liked the result. They literally gained 3 kills, and they lost all the points because they all ended up dying to timer.
No,
due
that's
to it.
not true. 2 of them ended
Oh yeah,
up
that's
dying
right. They
to
hit the
Nadine.
Nadine trap, didn't they?
Yeah, only
That's true.
a verse died to timer.
But
There's also the Adela who died to
regardless-
timer. The Adela, that's what I remember at least. She had like 2 seconds left but didn't realize. She tried to escape and then she died to the red zone and she got -5 points. That was the situation I remember at least. Do you think that's rough or is it fair?
I think it's fair, personally. I actually really like it.
I don't think it's fair. I don't get the purpose of it. Like,
You get rid of these really murky situations where you have to argue who deserves these points, who knocked this team out, who made these players blow up out of timer. Maybe
I
you'll
don't
have
think it's
guys from
murky.
one. Think you have people from one end knocking someone out. They have to run away. They run out. They come out to another exit, and there's another team there. Who deserves the points? Is it the team that pushed them out initially, or the team that just sat there, saw them with 3 seconds left, hit them once, and took the points?
That doesn't sound like market territory to me, honestly. I don't think.
I
you
think
make a
that's
good
very
argument for that.
murky, and it could be really game changing who got those points in a lot of situations. You get rid of that situation completely, and if the team on the other end does last hit and get the points, then that's the team that gets the points. But if the team sees other people there, double backs again, you get a really, really murky situation where it could be really meaningful. Like it could be a game deciding amount of points.
Rain, you seem to really disagree with this one. Anything else you want to say on it?
The example he gave just makes no sense. I don't agree with it at all. Like the specific example he gave, how is that even murky territory? The team that they ended up running to obviously would get the points there. Like it's not even a question. But like, I don't see why it's a good idea to have people suicide like that just to like hard deny people points.
No one actually did it to deny points, not once.
Alright, just because some people didn't abuse it doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Losing points yourself, it really de-incentivizes you from wanting to do that. It's not a
But
very
why
good
even have
play.
it like that?
Unless you're like the last place team and you're just trying to cock block guys that are in first place.
Yeah, so the reason they did that rules because they don't want people to deny kills, right? But do you really think it would be healthier without it? You're just pretty mixed on this. Is it
So-
fair with this score system or your ESRL one more?
So I think situations where you already fuck up and you somehow die to zone, like you get punished more for that. It doesn't seem fair to me. I don't really agree with it being useful for people denying points and stuff. Like the situations you're describing are so like far fetched and like if you just assign the points to a team that forces them into the zone or whatever, seems fine to me. Like it works in all the NA tournaments. I've never seen a situation like you described where it's murky or confusing. Like maybe it comes up, but that's like a 1 in a million or something. I don't know.
It's a lot like the teaming rule that they had to change because it can get very murky in my opinion.
I mean,
All right.
maybe.
Anything left to say about the Worlds event? My headset's being really
I like
weird right now. Sorry.
I enjoyed the event. Obviously, the skill level for some of the teams was not up to par, but it's their first event. The game's not even fully released yet. You can't expect everything to be perfect. Disappointed that EU didn't get a team, but understand since EU's an absolute mess when it comes to COVID, so can't blame them. But yeah, I enjoyed the event. I like the format of being over 4 days as well. I didn't like that they changed the times on the last 2 days though, because I couldn't stay awake till 4 a.m. to watch them.
It was good for NA players though, so you know.
Yeah, but I'm not NA.
You
I
win
don't
some,
care
you
about
lose
NA.
some.
Screw
Yeah,
NA.
well, NA is a bigger player. It's a fuck.
Yeah, we got bigger base. Sorry, man. Sit down.
Yeah, but you've also got Rin, so you know
What's
who's the
wrong
real
with
winner
Rin?
here.
Look at him.
Were you trash talking me right now?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, calm
Yeah,
down.
fuck.
No
You
NA
bullied
versus
my
you
boy.
yet. Okay,
No.
okay.
I'm
So
only kidding.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they did the times because to cater to both NA and EU and just other regions as well. So it sucked especially for 2 regions. NA got screwed the first 2 days and EU got screwed the last 2 days, right? But I don't think they could change that any better because the main event was in Korea. Alright, anything else left to say about this topic or do we move on?
I'm over it.
Alright, we go to the next one. Wait, I disapproved the wrong one. Okay, so we had the anti-one-trick pony rule first in the Korean tournaments a while back. After that, I started using it in my first tournament as well. Then Gunnar started using it in his tournament as well. And now it's also getting used in team formats tournaments as well. What do you think about this? Because my opinions have been really mixed about this. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I think anti-one trick rule, I used to hate it originally, but after watching ERWI, I think it's actually pretty important for the game. Watching Team Food Truck get away with running the same comp over and over again, and Team USA get away with running the same comp over and over again, is really, really fucking boring to me, honestly. I'd like to see varied gameplay, and if the anti-one trick rule is the way we do it, then the anti-one trick rule is the way we do it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Same.
Same.
Everything I wanted to say.
Anyone
Um,
disagree or has to add something? No, you all agree with
I-
this?
I mean,
No,
I'll
it-
talk. I'll talk. I got more to say, but
You can say. Please go ahead.
I agree, man. I was really against the one trick rule initially. I thought it would lower the overall level of play. I thought it was bad overall, but after seeing it in place, I think it made a lot more interesting gameplay. It forced more varied strategy. You don't just watch the same people dying to each other over and over again. And even though it lowers the top level of play, those best players are still going to play other things and find success. I think it makes the game a lot more exciting, and it creates situations where you see a lot more top-end skill expression from people that master multiple things, rather than some boosted scumfuck degenerate that just plays one thing really good for 1 month while it's broken and then falls off the face of the earth.
Do you think yes, Ascient, sorry.
I was just gonna say it's basically the same thing as picks and bans in other games, which
Mhm.
I prefer a system like that rather than like a hard rule, but I've zero idea how you implement that. So a one trick rule is fine as well.
Yeah, it seems really
Yeah.
hard in this game.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was good to watch high-level gameplay from obviously Team Food Truck and USA on those characters, but not for 20 games in a row.
Yeah.
Even in
20
5
is
games
way
in a
too
row,
much.
it's too much.
I even initially thought it would be really bad in duos and squads, but now I definitely think it's necessary. We need it.
Yeah, so that was
There's
my
always
next
going to be a
point.
meta.
So you
There's still
prefer?
downsides to it.
Yes.
Like you can RNG get bad team comps just because you have to vary your picks into like other teams, which I think is pretty lame. It also makes it so like a team who was prepared super hard, like Team Food Truck on that one comp, is now punished, despite the fact that they've basically like solved it at this point, I guess. Which I suppose can be kind of lame. So I mean, I understand both sides of the argument. I guess I don't know. I'm not the hard sold one way or the other personally.
It definitely lowers the top end of play. If you've mastered one single thing, it definitely lowers the skill ceiling for what you can show from yourself. But I think it just gets too boring from a viewer perspective. I watched the whole tournament and I got real fucking sick of it. It got to the point where I was excited to see their Nadine and Kathy picks when they were fucking trolling, you know?
Nadine pick wasn't trolling, but I don't
Sure.
think I agree that like,
Neither were trolling. Neither were trolling.
I actually think having one tricks only would higher the skill ceiling, but just for the viewer's sake, I think it's better to have the one trick rule in.
This is also sort of what I'm picking up from chat. If you think character balance would be good enough, would there be more variety by default, or will people still one trick pony?
I think character bans are really fucking dumb. Don't.
No,
ever
balance,
do
balance,
character
balance.
bans.
If balance
No,
was
it's
good
not about
enough.
balance.
So if like in this case,
what am I
Shuka and Adriana were very overpowered, right? They weren't really balanced enough in squad modes. So I'm saying if it was like more balanced across the whole board, all characters, would there be more variety in picks as well, or team comps? Or do you still think they would run the same comps every game just because it's easier for them and they know the routing and stuff?
I think naturally, if the skill level of the teams in ERWI was up to par, people would be forced to play different team comps because people would be actually invested into like countering said team comps. Like maybe a team would counter what Food Truck is doing. Like for example, Team No Chef had the chance to kill Team Food Truck in Hotel, and if they were better players, well, they would have. But the reality of the situation is that they're not. So Team Food Truck is never punished and is allowed to get away with things that they shouldn't get away with. Like there shouldn't even have to be a one trick rule, because running the same thing over and over again should just be punished by default. But unfortunately, with the state of the game the way it is, I think we're pretty much forced to have the one trick rule.
Alright, sounds fair.
I don't think the game's ever going to be balanced enough to not need it.
I agree.
People are always going to abuse the character they're best at, especially if the character's above average. And if they get away with it playing every single game, they will.
That's
yeah,
fair
but isn't
point.
that on the players? Like, it's not like their team comp is uncounterable. Like, literally, if we had better pilots on Team No Chef, they would have died over in Hotel. But the fact of the matter is, we just didn't have better pilots. So like,
True, but they could have also just in that situation. We don't know that not No Chef, Food Truck didn't have an alternative route for the same comp because they never got forced to change. So they might have had a completely
They
different
actually
route
did get
for the
forced
same
to
comp.
change. They had to have the Adriana move to a completely different route when Team USA ended up killing them at the teleporter.
Oh, and
Adriana
yeah.
played. Yeah, they played a different route for the last 4 games. But
I know that Prisma BBJ team, whatever, when they played in the NA tournament, they played Yukai Adri. No, they played like Yukai Nadine and then like Hedjin or Adri or
Hedjin.
something.
It was flex. They played
Yeah.
Hedjin, they played Adriana, they played ISOL. They experimented with a lot of different things. I know this. I've scrimmed against them a lot of times.
Yeah.
They've used a lot of that slot.
The point is they had like 20 different routes, or they had a new route for like each game. So if you don't ban their comp, teams are just gonna have a different route every time. And you know, if there's no rule against playing the same comp, they're just gonna find a way to play it.
I mean, they routed everything the same for the most part every time. The only things that changed was that third pick. Their Nadine and Jukai still routed the same every single game. The only thing they ever changed was maybe going to one of the zones that they were touching a little bit earlier to avoid, say, our team hitting up archery during the timing they were looting it. Overall, the routing was the exact same though.
Yeah, but if avoiding getting griefed, that's enough of a change, though, right?
Kind of, I guess. It's just hitting the zone before another zone that's the exact same route.
I mean, if you
it's a minor adaptation.
Yeah, but as long as you're avoiding death, it's sort of your goal, I guess. I don't know. I basically think you need a an anti-one-trick rule.
Okay, so most of you can definitely agree on it's being better for like the viewers at least, but it might be worse from some players like not playing their very best level.
I think bad players are going to complain about it. Bad players that can only play one thing or whatever's broken at the time. But
For
it's
sure.
good. It's necessary. And I
Alright.
think
Really
an
open,
alternative
right?
like a ban system is terrible.
Ben? You want to say something?
No, I don't agree with that. I don't think someone like I don't think that someone who only plays one character should be considered less of a player than someone who plays multiple. I think it's more interesting to see someone who's excelled at a character and like learn them to like the maximum level than it is to see someone on like 2 picks that they're just like above average on or whatever. I think that's more boring. I'd
I
much
think
rather
you'll still have
one
that
pick.
one pick at the maximum level. You'll still always have that in your pocket if you're a good player and you can play multiple things. But I do agree it overall lowers the top end if everyone is playing at the maximum, you know, efficiency level. I think you need some way to force change up the lobbies though to not see the exact same routes over and over again. You need it.
The way you do that is you have people adapt to what people are doing rather than just playing the same shit over and over again because it makes you feel comfortable. I think it'd be better if it were up to the players to adapt and to be able to take down these things rather than forcing them.
Yeah, I think that's a lot more doable in duos and squads than solos. Maybe you need that rule at least for solos.
Alright. Anything left to say about this topic? Or are you guys done? I think we're done. Okay. Let's move on to recently we got the revive system a while back in team modes. We haven't seen it in tournaments yet. I'm pretty sure it was disabled in Irby as well. What do you think about this moving forward? How is the system? Have you guys all played team modes? How do you all think about it as well? Does it actually help? Is it balanced? Give your opinions, please.
I'll say I thought
As
it.
the team mode player here. Sorry, you can go.
I was just gonna say I thought it was gonna suck, but it's actually pretty good.
Yep. I think it's necessary in the team mode. I think it helps a lot. It makes it learning for new players a little easier, and it's buggy right now. It doesn't work right now, but it's necessary for the game, I think. My only problem with it that I'm running into is if you eliminate a team, your first thing you do now is you loot the body, you take all the armor off it, and you hide it somewhere, which I think kind of sucks. So now you have to run back and just fully loot up again. I don't know how you play around that now. Maybe you have to know you killed someone earlier in the game and you go peep their fit real quick. But it definitely sucks when you revive someone, they're down 3 levels, and someone's already greeked your loot and hidden it.
Have you actually seen it happen though? Because I haven't in my duo games.
I do it. I do it every
I
time.
do it as well.
Really? You guys actually have
Definitely.
inventory space for that?
If
You
you're playing
don't
on the
really
top
need
level,
it.
you're doing it.
If you
Alright.
won the fight and killed someone, chances are that you've got time to hide it. You don't need to quickly do it. The team's not likely to come back and try and fight you down a man.
Yeah, you just drop a camera on the body too, and you can just see if they're coming to res their buddy real quick.
Yeah.
It's easy. You're literally putting yourself at a disadvantage if you don't take the loot off the body and hide it in a brush or move it around multiple boxes or anything. If you're playing at the top level, you're doing it, and I feel like there should be a little bit better catch-up mechanic for the people that do get their bodies griefed, but I don't know how they would go after it. Maybe downgrade every single piece of item and you just respawn with your shit down 1 tier. Maybe make everything blue now, or green, or whatever it was previous.
Even that would be hard because I mean,
Yeah,
it's still it'd be more fair.
Even that, it would also suck because you're now creating resources that weren't otherwise in the game, and you could get prep for like rare materials by just inadvertently downgrading something. Creating more resources like that is unhealthy overall.
That's
Is
true.
it though? I don't think it really matters that much because I mean you can RNG resources off animals too, but I doubt
Sure.
you.
I think that's just something that could potentially be problematic. I think it probably would overall help the players though, especially for a comeback mechanic.
Yes. I think we'll see it happen more when we actually got seeing tournaments with the revive system actually enabled. Then we will see more how it
And
actually is
players
at a
will
higher
definitely
play.
use it.
So maybe then we can also find out what should be changed about it and which idea would be good for it. But for now, we don't really have much experience yet with the system, I would say. because it has been disabled in all tournaments. Anything left to say? No.
Like it's really hard for me to judge how the system is just because the skill level in North American squads and duos or whatever even ranked is pretty garbage. So I don't really have too much, honestly.
Shots already fired.
You can really only do things yourself and kind of formulate an opinion that way.
Okay.
Do whatever you can think of.
To be fair, that applies to EU as well.
It applies to everyone except for Korea, guys.
Yeah.
No, it applies to as well.
Alright.
Korea team mode's pretty dog shit too.
We're also plays Korea, of course, so I guess it's bad everywhere. Alright, let's move on to the next topic. Alright, so we're getting more areas is turning more into League with like their items. They're having like these new passive items, new active items as well. Like we've already gotten sort of Sunfire Cape effects in the Blazing Dress, and we're also getting more active items, etc. What do you guys think adds this to the game? Does it make it more complex? Do you think it's gonna break the game? Any thoughts about that?
Personally, I like just like item effects as a whole, right?
Yes.
Is that what we're talking? Right.
Yes,
So
you can
I
also
like
talk
item
about passive.
I like item effects that feel like they change playstyles and whatnot. So like maybe like something like Vajra can change playstyles where you do like a hit and run kind of playstyle, stuff like that. I don't like item effects that just end up becoming like essentially stats, kind of like I guess Sunfire. I guess it's kind of boring to me. But something like Vajra itself could actually end up just becoming stats as well, because you just smack someone with a guaranteed crit. It just really depends on the implementation of it. Like something like an item like let's say Shirelia's, back when that was a thing, can change playstyles because now you have an actual way to engage, which I think is way more interesting than something like Bork's unique passive or whatever, which is fucking boring as shit.
Shirelia's is an item that adds movement speed for your team, by the way, for people who don't know.
I mean, I think all the effects I've implemented so far are like not high impact enough, and the cooldowns are too short, so you end up not having to like I don't know, play around them or do anything. They just happen. Essentially the same, just more attack power.
Yeah, there's nothing really you can play around with them as well, is the problem. Like someone's got a guaranteed crit every 3 seconds, like what are you meant to do about that?
Yeah. I mean the fact it's every 3 seconds, it's just like it's such a short cooldown.
Or if someone's got the burn of the Blazing Dress, like how'd you play around that? Just ignore it. It's usually the answer.
You don't really play around it. It's so ineffective that you don't even think about it as it's happening.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't really change anyone's playstyle. You just still do the exact same thing. It's just now you've got an extra effect.
So I do like what they're doing with the items currently. I think my problem with it is it makes the characters that do get these RNG materials a little more snowbally, and the characters that can take advantage of them have become a lot better. I think Kathy is someone who's definitely going to be showing a lot of play rate on this patch, really high win rate. I think she's really broken right now, and people are going to take advantage of these new RNG items on her. I don't think active items have a place in this game. I honestly don't. I don't like the idea of having them. Like Zonia's Hourglass, Blade of the Rune King, whatever kind of things you can make, Deathfire Grasp. I don't like the idea of having it, and it would require some insane balancing and make a lot of characters ineffective. If you just like QSS a Hedgen, for example, all of a sudden Hedgen's tier just boom, way down, way down.
So I think it'd be better if we just keep it at passive items only. There wouldn't be any active ones.
I do like... Exactly. I do think these passives currently are really fun. My only problem with it is they seem a little snowbally and too strong in their current state. Fregarak, for example, is the biggest offender in my opinion.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't miss Kathy.
Yeah.
She can go back to the grave for like a...
You're gonna be seeing her for a while, I'm thinking.
Yeah, especially because of the Exchange Opera as well. Now she's got 2 free effects in her normal build.
Dude, if she gets Wiccaline now, it's game fucking over. It's actually busted right now.
We've also had a few Adelas running the new Meteor Claymore, is it?
Yeah.
Just smacking someone for 700 every 3 seconds. I think they forgot Adela existed when they made that, because that's not fair on a ranged character.
I think it's also really, really strong in Chiara. I think it's really strong.
To go back to active items for a second, you're essentially saying like they can't exist because if you have like counter items and they counter specific characters really hard and they're useless against others, and sort of in solos who you're against is RNG, right? So if you build a QSS, it's good against Hedge and it's terrible against, I don't know, a lot of characters like a Fiora, for example.
It exists
So-
in the game though. That's what Lunar Embrace and Mithril Armor are.
Yeah, so that's
Embrace
what I was gonna say. There's stuff like Lunar Embrace in the game which deletes certain characters when you play against them. But I feel like if there was enough counter items and you could choose what to build based on your lobby, for example, then that would be pretty good for the game. If it was like you could build the anti-Fiora item or the anti-Hedgeon item, etc., etc.
Yeah, I'd have to see how it's implemented because it just sounds really broken to me, and it really depends on how you get access to it as well.
I'd
Okay.
be fine with certain active items. I wouldn't want stuff like anything that gives you flash, for example. I think that would be basically impossible to balance.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want stuff like Zhonya's, stuff that just like denies. For example, if you can get an item that gives you Zhonya's, Kiara suddenly becomes just the saddest character ever because she'll never execute anyone. But for stuff like you mentioned Shrelia's, which I think is the group movement speed item, for stuff like that, I wouldn't mind that being implemented. That would give you more strategies. Basically, more supportive items than essentially an extra skill.
I feel like that would lower the tier of some engaged characters too, though, because it kind of makes you also no longer have the necessity of having someone like, say, 11, who is already struggling to find her niche in game, or even Leon, because if you just have an active to speed your whole team up, why would you not just run the Jackie Yuki Hedgeon comp that we were seeing in ERWI?
I mean, the obvious answer is like if you have an item to speed people up, you could have another item that slows people down, etc. You know.
Yeah, like Frostborn Gauntlet
I
or whatever.
feel like
guess.
you can't think of like implementing active items in a vacuum. Like you add this item, it counters this, therefore this is now going to be bad. What if they add another item that buffs? Oh, it's really useful for the thing that was countered by the first item, etc., etc. You know, they'd all balance off each other. So I don't necessarily think balancing would be impossible.
Okay, so what do you think if they would only add like, so something like Zhonya's is definitely unbalanced, right? Because that's like a status type of thing. They can literally just iframe or just be invulnerable for 2 seconds, basically, which is kind of would be imbalanced in this game for sure. But like supportive items, like Oran said as well, like the Shrelias or like the QSS, but like on an ally instead, or just the QSS in general, or a heal item maybe. Doesn't it show more skill as well than just using the Zhonya's and being invulnerable for 2 seconds? Do you think that's more balanced to just having those supportive items? Because Numenor said before, they don't want to build support-only characters. So having those items might help with the supportive balance of the game as well. What do you think about that?
I think
Not
implementing
too many
like
opinions.
no, I think implementing like support active items is an interesting way to like make it so people can actually specialize in supports and squads. Because if we look at squads right now, the characters that we consider supports would be like something like Adriana or even Jukai, but they're not like actual real supports, especially in the way they build. They still end up being damage sources and just doing stupid amounts of damage. We don't have like a true like I guess like Leona CC bot or whatever, because that wouldn't function in solos, which is
I
something
agree with that.
you need every character to be viable in. But like adding items that could fulfill that role would probably make it so we could have like dedicated support characters in squads and duos. I think it's pretty cool. It would just depend on how they implement it, I guess.
Okay, sounds good. So we can agree on supportive items being a better fix to adding active items, at least.
I have always said that I do want more support S characters, so maybe those kind of items are the way to implement it fairly, because you still want every character to be viable in your solos game mode. I think at least.
I just want more interesting items in general, like blah blah. 3 seconds after you cast a spell, you can do some more damage to get out of here.
Alright, more item diversity. That's why we're still in early access as well, at least. Alright, anything else on this topic, or do you want to move on? Alright, I guess we want to move on. Next we're going to go to tier list. So, People have been talking a lot about tier lists. Everyone loves making tier lists and following them. Are they, when we look at new players especially, but also people who want to climb, are they useful? Are they bad propaganda? What do you think about actual tier lists on a non-sarcastic way?
Oh, I guess I'll start. So honestly, every single tier list I've seen for this game is dog shit, mostly because they're informed by biases of players who don't actually have proper opinions on things because they don't actually know how good things are. Like, an example is, why do I see NA players rating Emma super high on a tier list when there's not a single fucking NA Emma player anywhere?
Nazimi.
When's the last time you saw Nazimi in a game?
Like two,
And Emma.
3 days ago. He plays it. He just plays on Smurfs. He was playing on Nazimi Owo the other day.
I've
I
never
think that
seen
counts like
Nazimi in
mid
a high
diamond.
elo lobby, and I've been playing pretty.
No, he's like mid diamond on that account, man. I think you haven't been getting NA games lately.
To try from beginning in any games, but I call BS on the fact that anybody can have any sort of opinion on that character. Or other characters as well. When's the last time you saw a fucking Sylvie in your game? Yeah, people are still having opinions on that character. When's the last time you saw a Cathion in your game, but people still have opinions on those characters? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't even know why these people try to clickbait tier lists when they obviously don't know what they're talking about because no one fucking plays these characters. The game's player base is too small. It's kind of cringe, honestly.
I partially agree with you. I think tier lists are still good. I think for the most part, you can get an idea of what is good and bad. I wouldn't necessarily agree
How?
with them. And exactly what do you mean by how? How what?
How
How is it good?
No. How can you find out what is good / bad if people don't fucking play these characters? You have maybe
Because
one person at best piloting something to.
for the most part, anything that's an S or A tier of any player, even if they don't know what they're talking about, they're still going to be at least right that it's playable, it's viable, it's something worth learning. Not that I'm going to always agree with the place that they put it. I'm going to at least say this is a good character and you should probably learn it if you're interested in, being the best player you want to be, I think tier lists are generally still a good thing to look at, and it's a good resource for newer players.
I don't know. I think they're pretty much entirely propaganda. I think the most egregious example recently is when Averse was calling Hedgin bad, and everyone decided to listen in.
Oh no,
And-
no, Hedgins are like fucking mind controllers. That's definitely
Yeah.
like a part of the champion at this point.
Like stuff like
For
that.
sure.
People saying Hedgin was in like, I don't know, a bad character. And then he starts playing Hedgin again and gets rank 1 or whatever, because it turns out she's still fine. Why would she ever have been bad? Like, I didn't understand that. Even though it was happening, it was like some kind of like disease had
Well,
infected
if
the
you
player
ask anyone
base.
that doesn't play Hedgin, that's just clearly Hedgin propaganda. Anyone that doesn't play Hedgin clearly holds the opinion that she's good. There's some people that got mind controlled and they're like, yeah, okay, versus right, she's B tier, but I feel like for the most part, people knew she was still a very good character.
Yeah, then why did the majority of people in the NA Roundhouse, for example, rate her as B tier? There's something like 16 people rated
Okay,
her, and like 5 that
dude.
rated A.
People were on some hard fucking copium that day. I don't know what was going on. I wasn't available. I was speaking up my ass. I don't even know, man.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about. These guys are just fucking formulating opinions on things that they don't know anything about. Like, why the fuck was there even an opinion on Hejin right there, for example? Because obviously no one knew where the fuck she was at. So why are they giving their opinion on it? It's fucking cringe.
I put her in A tier. I don't know about you guys. Everyone else voted a little sus. There's a lot of things I question with on there. I remember some Barber player put in all the melees in D tier or something like that.
Yeah, obviously people are like biased because for the most part people who play this game are one tricks, but that's also part of what I'm talking about. The majority of the people who play this game are fucking one tricks. Their viewpoints on anything are extremely biased. I don't know why we're listening to these people.
So
I think
having
it's bad for the game.
yes, but especially for newer players, if they see a tier list and they see Yejin indeed in a B tier, they will assume Yejin is bad, and then the next week they see a verse smurfing on her, like placing her into S tier basically. So you think tier lists in general just should not be made for anything other than just pure propaganda, pure trolling, and not for people to follow?
I think the player base in this game is way too small for anyone to make a legitimate tier list, so it doesn't make sense. Like, we have literally one top player at most for every character in NA at least.
They will always be biased, right? Because they are one trick ponying most of the time. So your tier list will
Still
be
need
different no
resources,
matter what you
though.
play.
I mean, I think tier lists can be sort of useful if, say, Averse again makes a tier list. You can perceive that as like a hedging tier list and view it through that mindset. But aside from that, they are just propaganda. If someone tries to make like an unbiased quote unquote tier list, then yeah, that's just propaganda.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever going to be an unbiased tier list. No one's ever going to play every single character to a competent enough level to create an unbiased tier list. So I think if you ever look at tier lists, just assume that that tier list is from the perspective of whatever character that person plays. If you look at a verse tier list, assume it's in the eyes of a hedging player. Just assume it's like a matchup tier list for hedging, basically. Don't take it as gospel or anything. Don't base your own gameplay around it. Just play what you want. Every character is viable. And yeah, I think people do overrate tier lists. They're basically just what this main thinks of the other characters.
Okay, so like Ascient said, just a POV type of tier list, basically. So a verse can make one for Yejin, RATJAMMER can make one for Jackie, ImRhinne can make one for Sylvia, and so on, basically. Alright, that sounds fair.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I still do want resources to learn from and be able to at least see what is around the top tier or not. Because some people do make up their mind based on, you know, what seems really, really good right now.
And there will always be a meta or like a flavor of the month, as we said it before in League. Because there will always be characters which are like pretty much broken right now or OP, like Catty, most likely gonna be S tier if we will make a tier list right now. Purely because of the frac changes.
Well, I have a question. Why do you think these are useful resources to new players when these resources are just completely wrong? Like, why the fuck do I see Emma in God tier, for example, when that character is probably, or at least was last patch, among the worst characters in the game? It doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
I think if you see something is really, really good, you're more incentivized to want to learn it. And
Right,
there
but
are overall agreements on what is D tier, you know? If I'm a new player, I don't want to just play something that's bad. No better way to put it. Like, the character's generally really bad. I don't want a new player playing Bernice. They're not going to have a good time.
wait,
If someone's using those kind of resources,
thing. But
what's that?
New players playing Bernice is actually probably a good thing because he's easy as fuck. But like,
I partially agree.
and like you're kind of screwing over new players by telling them something like Emma is like super god tier. You should learn it because she's
No,
SSS
definitely.
tier.
I don't disagree with that. I
Why?
just think overall that a tier list is still a resource. You need resources to be able to learn. I like having resources. I had a friend that I brought into the game that fell for that too. I tried telling him otherwise, like, dude, don't fall for this. It's bait. You don't want to learn Emma, and he's a brand new fucking player. He's playing the 7-zone Emma build. Don't get weapon till 4-zone. He's just having a terrible fucking time, and it turned him off the game. But you know, some people aren't even able to learn. You know, flame towards my friend here. If you're not willing to take other criticisms and opinions from informed players, then tier lists are not all that's going to help you.
But how is a bad resource going to help anyone? A bad resource is worse than no resource.
Well, Emma is good. It's just not something I would recommend for a new player.
I'm going to disagree with that take, but that's not the point I'm getting at here.
Okay, so maybe we'll be...
these
Yes, right?
If you can agree that these tier lists are in general probably pretty not good, right? How do you think it's a good idea to give these to new players?
It's not that I'm giving it to a new player. I'm giving it to a player that wants a general idea of what's top tier and what's bottom tier. Because some people do make their opinions based on what's top tier and bottom tier for what they want to learn, what they want to play.
Didn't you literally just talk about giving it to a brand new player though, so they can decide what they want to main?
Sure, you need to use more than just a resource, but it's a resource. It's something. It's information.
Bad
Information
resource,
is
how's
always
it
good.
information? No, it's not. Bad information is not information. Like if I told you Bernice was SSS tier, go main him, you new player. Is that good information? No. That's not
If
helpful.
he was, it would be decent information, but it's clearly propaganda.
Then how is that useful for new players if these tier lists are just nothing but propaganda?
Because they're not 100% propaganda, that's the point.
Are they not though? It kind of feels like they are. Like it just kind of feels like people are letting their biases get a hold of them because it makes their dick feel better or something. And it makes them feel better when they lose to these players.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about the region difference. For example, on the Nate tier list I saw, most of them put like Bernice at D or C tier. However, in EU we have Bernice players who are actually really good. So, or on Ascent, do you guys agree with Bernice being only C or D tier, for example? Or would you say it's like a region difference in this case?
Okay, but Bernice being decent was, well, he got nerfed like a patch or two ago, right? And
Yeah.
after that, he was no longer an actual character. But before that, yeah, he was pretty good, and NA players were calling him D. Same with like Sniper Aya. Like, for such a long time, any NA tier list had Sniper Aya in bottom tier, and Bernice. And these characters are just factually not bad. Like, I'm not saying Sniper Aya like was the best thing in the world or still is, but it was okay. And people would make out like it's unplayable trash. Like, so say, what if a new player wants to come in and wants to play Sniper Aya, and then I don't know, sees a tier list where we're at bottom, even though that's just factually incorrect, and then decides not to play it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
It's
a
all the
problem.
buffs.
That's a problem with quite a lot of these tier lists. It's one extreme or the other. Either characters are insanely broken or absolutely unplayable, and I think that's just wrong. Quite a lot of the characters of the game are just balanced, which is fine. They don't have to be OP to play them. You don't have to be even if they're slightly below average, they're still playable. And I think people look at tier lists and see, oh yeah, Emma's S tier, I should play her. Or they say, oh, Sniper Eye is F tier. Let's not even bother. But realistically, both the characters are playable. It's just that obviously Emma is going to be better in the very highest tiers of play. But for most people, that's not going to affect anything.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I think the only advice to new players should be play what you think is fun or what you like the look of. And I think beyond that, it's just like, I don't know. If they ask you what's good, just tell them to play what you think is fun. Don't engage them any further, but that's my opinion on that.
I would
I
have
think
one.
Sniper Eye is actually really good right now. I think all of the buffs lately have made it a lot more viable. It's actually solid. I think Bernice being good in EU is definitely a region diff there, where you guys just don't have enough good players.
I
Gonna
mean,
be honest on that one.
it's
Not
not good
the other
anymore.
way around though, because we don't have a single Bernice player in NA. But that's another thing I'm talking about. Like we don't even have.
Isn't there a top
Maybe
20
third-
Bernice in Korea right now? That guy's fucking cracked, man.
We don't have a single fucking Bernice in NA. How the fuck can you rate this character? Literally
We
no
got
one.
a couple.
Who?
They're just not good.
Yeah, so good players, you can't rate it.
Flammable's playing it. Sleeping
Alright,
Lions
bad
are
player.
playing it. There's
Lions is
there's
still
one
good
more player that I can't remember his name of that's been playing it, and he's been doing actually pretty solid. I think he's mid diamond right now.
I wouldn't consider that solid. Like you're talking about like trash right now that are playing the game. Like diamond in this game, if you're like fucking top 50 in an A, that'd be the
Yeah, I'll
equivalent
score.
of gold in League of Legends. No cap. Like these players are not something you can base how good a character is off of. It's
Sure, I
another
mean, I'm saying Bernice is
these
bad.
are-
I'm agreeing with you here, brother.
Oh,
I'm saying it's a region diff
saying,
here.
no, I'm not saying Bernice is bad. I'm saying how the fuck can you judge what a character is like when we don't have anyone who plays Bernice? And it's
Yeah,
true for like a
there's
lot of.
definitely a Korea player.
So we have one player for the character total in 3 combined regions, and we can
No.
base how it is.
EU also has good Bernice players, but apparently EU sucks, according to RATJAMMER.
Yeah, no, that's some cap, Ayumi. I'm gonna be real with you. You guys
What?
don't have enough of a population to put that guy
EU
down.
sucks according to the 2 EU players here.
Okay, we're gonna move on to new players first, and then we'll find out about the region difference.
The chat needs to hear. I don't care how many
We
EU
will-
players you
I
have.
mean,
No,
just
we will
kinda
get to
suck,
it.
But NA sucks too.
I agree.
The regions
Of
suck.
course. We
Okay,
only
first.
have like 10 good players, and Ren and I are 2 of them.
I feel like people are naturally bad at this game. I don't really get it.
Okay, guys, let's talk about new players first, okay? And then we'll get to the war about NA, EU, Korea. Okay, first, we've been getting a lot more new players lately because of the promotions we've been doing
Where?
and stuff, and I'm sure we do. I see them a lot in
Where
my
are
games.
they?
I see them a lot in my games, okay? EU has been getting them, NA has been getting them too. I'm very sure with all the promotions going on. Aesop and DefnotOran are working hard at it. Don't fucking laugh, Rin. Shut up. We're getting new players. So my question is, it's really hard to get into this game. How do you recommend a new player to get into this game? How did you guys get into this game?
Your BS. It's free on Steam. Download it now, please. Please.
Okay,
Yeah, how do you get into the game? I don't know.
I didn't find this game hard to get into, so I can't answer that.
Okay,
For
okay,
me
next.
and my friends, we got into this game because like 4 months ago, we saw Dyrus playing it on stream one day. We're down bad as fuck. We got no games we want to play. We're like, guys, we need some ideas here. One of us spitballed the idea, and we're like, all right, let's try it. We tried a couple games. Obviously, all my friends quit, but I'm still here playing. Like we're
Okay.
down so fucking bad. That's the only reason I even found this game.
So you were just desperate. Noted. Ascent was
Oh
just too
yeah.
good, so he just got into the game. Okay. Rin, what about you?
Um, Actually, I was kind of in the same position. I wanted to play a game with friends. Unfortunately, they all kind of quit, so I don't really play with them anymore. But I played squads with them and I enjoyed it, so I kept playing. And even when they stopped, I just continued to play. I guess for
Yep.
like players, if you're getting into the game, I'd say try to play with friends because in general, like when you're trying to learn, doing stuff with friends, like duos and squads or whatever, is probably gonna be more fun than going at it solo and just getting face rolled by ImRhinne that's in your normal game for some ungodly reason because rank you.
Yeah, no, learning this game in solos is so bad. I will say one thing about the game. As someone that's made multiple Smurfs, there is a special queue for people that don't win very often. If you're like gold, normal MMR, and below, you strictly only play with like gold to iron players, which I think is good. Every now and then a gold player will slip into a higher tier lobby, but there is a separate queue, believe it or not, and it's not that bad for newer players. You just can't play with somebody that's actually out of that, because if you play with someone that's high elo, you're kind of pulled out of that queue inadvertently, which really sucks if you're not smurfing with a friend when you're trying to get them into the game. One problem I have with this game for new players is you don't have resources to learn the game, and you know, for a new player, you come into this game, you don't know what Lumia craft is, you don't know what DAC is, you don't know the specialized resources that we use within the community for learning and teaching each other things. You only know YouTube, and the YouTube content in this game becomes outdated so quickly. You look at like Skaz's channel or Tom's channel, their last videos are like week, 2 weeks, a month ago, 4 months ago in Skaz's case, and information becomes relevant and non-relevant in this game so fucking quickly. You can pull up any of Tom's guides, and I'd probably say maybe 20% of them are still relevant to this day. We need more all-round resources rather than character resources, because that's what new players will know is YouTube when they're trying to learn the game. And our content on YouTube isn't acceptable, I think, for someone trying to learn the game, along with how bad the tutorial is.
Good. Very good. Oren, your opinion first still. How did you get into the game and what do you recommend to new players as well?
I got dragged into it by Gobu, and then he abandoned me and went back to NA. And
All
that's
right.
basically how I got into the game.
That's rough.
Who's a EU player?
No, he's NA, but he played in EU with that when I first started, and then went to NA because he got sick of me, I guess. Happens. But yeah, for new players, I think the biggest issue is there's just so much to learn, and the game tells you nothing. Basically, the tutorial is, I think we can all agree, terrible. The combat tutorial is basically have AI go auto attack people to death.
Against
It
bots that are 4
doesn't-
levels down on you with green weapons.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you anything about using abilities, using the importance of food and drinks or anything. Just go auto attack stuff, and that's your entire combat tutorial. It's pretty terrible. I think obviously they're working on the improved tutorial, which is fine. But yeah, I'll agree. There's not a lot of new player content out there as well outside of the tutorial. A lot of those videos that are out there are very outdated and often have terrible builds in. And quite often the videos, the actual accurate stuff is hard to find because it's buried in the middle of like, I don't know, Inad Shoichi or some crap.
Yo, I got a question for you guys actually. Have you guys seen the Williams default plan? I don't know if they changed it yet, but did you see how it doesn't even have all the zones for finishing the build? It wants you to run into cemetery after you finish up inside of, I think, chapel, but it doesn't tell you to go cemetery after. You're missing like a feather and something else for the build, like bamboo or something, I think, to finish quiver or some shit. And it doesn't even say in the build that you're supposed to walk into cemetery. Even though for a more experienced player, obviously you know, oh, you only need 2 items and it's in the zone adjacent to your final zone. Obviously, go here and finish it. Like, how can they let that pass for a new player trying to use the default route? That's the only player that's going to use their default route. Like, how are they still pumping out these routes for their new players? It's so bad.
I totally agree with stuff like that. I feel like
Anyone seen that?
Yeah, I've just looked. It's pretty bad.
If I remember correctly, like the Kiara default route has like a Mistletoe and a Creed of an out. Stuff like that as well. There's more than just one route that sucks.
How do you guys feel about this? Is what I've been thinking they should be doing for the new player routes. They shouldn't be like your best in slot items. It should just be acceptable items, which are easy to manage on inventory, and generally zones that are adjacent to each other. Like just leave these new players to any zone between 3 to 5, all adjacent to each other, man. Throwing these guys on cross country tracks on 6 zones for like actual best in slot, it's not it, man. Like you can't learn the game like that.
Yeah,
They
I
need
fully
to
agree with
rehaul
that.
all these.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've updated quite a few of the guides. You mentioned the Kiara guide. I've just checked; that's been updated to a fully amp guide, which admittedly is still bad, but it's better
How
than
many
what it
zones
was, I
is it?
guess.
Are they adjacent?
It's 5 zones. It's the classic temple, school, forest, beach, up, down. But it's a
It's
full
not
amp build.
That's
It's not
not too
bad,
bad.
but it's not a great build. But I think they should just, personally, I think they should just use the top save plans as the recommended builds. And if anyone posts meme builds, like I don't know, 6 clan clatters, just stop them posting builds. Just ban them from sharing their plans because they're
I
not
don't
that
know,
hard.
man.
A little
Some
gem
of
up
the
the
top ones are
ended
bad.
up posting a plan like that, so I don't think they have plans on doing that.
I would not recommend a lot of the top plans to my friends if they're new to the game. A lot of them have intricacies where it's like, oh, I'm missing these 3 items from, say, hospital on the start. I'll make up for it in hotel later, is kind of what they do along their routes. And you're not going to be able to do that as a new player using these top plans, because at the end of the day, you're using these top plans because they're supposed to be really quick. You're looting your boxes, you're hitting the teleport immediately, and you're just moving forward and making up for it later. And a lot of new players are going to get lost in the sauce on that. They're not going to be able to finish their build on time. They're going to be 3 levels down without their weapon, and they're just going to roll over and wonder where they went wrong.
True, but on the flip side of that, if they give them, say, below average builds that are quick to make, they might just lose fights and just think, why did I lose? I'm full build and this person's missing a game.
I'm pretty sure if you're a new player and you just make items, you'll win every game.
Yeah.
True.
There is an actual new player queue. It does exist, and I think if you're just using those items, it won't be that bad until you actually learn. As long as it's quick.
True.
Like, have you seen the meta Adriana build? No shot you're recommending a new player to use that. The meta Kiara build, no fucking shot. Like the missile pin, like you gotta know when to pick up your sticks on that goddamn build. And there's a lot of shit you can skip on that build, and it's all about being quick, being able to get it completed.
I think about this game, like when you kill someone or you win a game, it feels like really good, like way better than killing someone in, I don't know, Dota or League, for example. So if you just give new players like easy builds where they can get a kill, then that's what they should try to do, you know, to keep them invested in the game.
Okay, and I think for new players as well, when I look at Oran's stream or my own stream, I actually see people who like never even saw herbs before. They somehow find our streams, I have no clue how. And they just start asking like, oh, what is this game for? So blah, blah. And we desperately promote it because we want to +1, of course. So we've been having a lot of new players coming in as well, and we try to promote them as streamers. Rin, you also have been doing coaching for new players. How has that been going? And do you actually feel like that helps promote the game as well, and it actually helps them stay in the game? Does it actually help them get better as well?
I mean, it helps them get better. A lot of the time, I find like a lot of people I coach or like people who play the game like on and off for like a small amount of time, maybe a month or whatever. I'm like hoping that by coaching them or whatever, I can get them like more invested into actually playing the game, so they'll be more consistent, I guess, because they get better from the coaching session. But I mean, I haven't seen like any of these people in my games. Obviously, maybe it's like too small of a time or whatever. Can't improve that fast. I don't know if they're still being casual or what. It's just hard to say, honestly. I don't know how much of an effect it's actually having.
I think EU especially has a problem of new players getting matched with just anyone. Because obviously the EU server is quite a lot smaller than the NS server. We've got people who've got like 6 games going against the top players in normals. Which, although being top in normals doesn't mean anything, they're still going to get murdered. It's not exactly a good experience. It's not something they can learn to deal with. Just don't die to the person with 3,000 games. I think they need to do something about the queue. Doesn't matter what they do at the tutorial, if people are constantly getting murdered by people with 3,000 games, it's just it's going to turn anyone off, really.
I think if a high-rated player is out queuing normal games, they can accept the fact that they're gonna be in queue for 10 to 20 minutes to find a balanced normal game. I think that's perfectly acceptable, and we really should lower down who gets queued with each other. Nimble Neuron, please fucking listen, because it's actually unfair. I feel really bad when I'm playing normals, and sometimes I do want to learn something new, and I don't want to play it in ranked. I would accept a 20-minute queue to not just stomp these new players. You know what I mean?
It also
Yeah,
gives
but on
no
the flip-
practice. Yes, right? Or...
A high
well-
elo player queuing normals, they should just queue ranked if they want to play their main shit in there anyway. And I think they should be able to accept the fact that they have to wait 20 minutes to play against each other in normals if they want to practice something new.
Yeah, the flip side of that is obviously if the queues are too long, people will just make Smurfs. And then
I'm going to tell you right now, bro, I've made so many Smurfs, and within like 20 games, I already get them within the top 300 MMR of, you know, worldwide Titan MMR. I think if you're hitting Titan MMR in normals, like that should be a specific queue just for you fucking guys, even Platinum or Diamond, man. Because I have friends that have been new to the game, they played 300, 400 games, and they're still only Platinum or lower normal MMR. Those guys should not be getting in my game still.
Okay,
Like,
so
there's a
they
lot of
did.
people like that too.
They did have this system when before ranked existed, there was only normals, but it had a rank applied to it, so it was kind of like every game was ranked. Anyway, but once you got it above a specific amount of points, you got put in a separate queue. So all people did was either make Smurfs or they just joined games and left for like 20 in a row to lower their MMR, so they got games again because they didn't want to wait in the queue times. So honestly, it won't really work.
Yeah, I mean,
And
if high elo players are doing that, that's just a problem with the game. I don't think there's a lot of genuine high elo players that are out here just grinding normals just for the fun of it. There's some. I'm not going to call them out. There's some people that do it. But as I said, I have new friends that have been playing this game for 2 months now, and they're still just diamond, platinum, or lower MMR in normals. Like, there's a lot of people like that. They do exist. If you're getting over that, you're clearly good at the game. You know, you're clearly doing something that all the other players are not. If I have friends that have been playing, they're good at games. They've been playing for months now, and they're still down there in those lower elos.
the easiest way to solve this problem?
Q ranked.
No. Get more players to play the game.
That's a bit...
I understand why they're not going
That-
after it. If my tutorial looked like this, I wouldn't want new players in the game either. I don't think advertising is right now. They need to fix a lot of underlying issues for the new player experience before they advertise, because they're just going to leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth like they did initially when they first advertised it.
You guys see new players when you queue up normals, especially this one for Oran. When you see new players, what do? Do you leave them alone until they finish their weapons, or do you just beat the fuck out of them? I wonder.
If I see them early game and they're like obviously blatantly new, I'll just leave them. It's not worth it. It's not worth
Do you
it.
really, Oran? Do you really?
Sometimes depends on the mood I'm in. Depends on who it is as well.
Okay, fair.
I actively don't kill new players when I'm playing normals. If I'm up 2 levels on you, I'm full build and you're half build, I'm just running away. If you keep chasing me and you're trying to ego me at that point, I'll fucking put you down. But I don't like the idea of bullying the new players, and I like to get a more honorable experience when I'm trying to practice something in normals. If I am trying to learn something new, I don't mind playing against someone that had a free ride.
Yeah, I'll often give people a pass, but if the new player is like just sat there crafting in front of me while I'm full build,
Oh yeah,
you've got to teach them, right? You've got to teach
Don't
them.
do that.
They've got to learn.
Maybe I'll hit them a couple times, push them away, and make them
Yeah,
learn. Hey, you
like
don't do that in front of me.
Yeah, like hit them a couple times, mag assault to the face. You know, what's the difference? They've got to learn. But yeah, generally I'll try and leave them. But even if I do, especially in EU, chances are they'll just get killed anyway. So yeah, it still sucks regardless whether or not I leave
will
them.
say, if I'm playing duos or squads and I see shitters in my game, I've actually gotten to the point where I learned you don't let anyone survive in duos and squads. I had this one piece of shit in Avenue inside the main building. He was reverse waving me. I'm like, this new player, he's so cute. He's down 2 levels. He's got green weapon. I won't kill him. I'm Luke with purple. All of a sudden, he's got 2 buddies come in from the other doors that got me cornered, and they start throwing me against the wall and fucking doing things to me, man. You know, I'm not letting that shit happen ever again. I'm killing people in duos and squads. That shit
Okay, that's
happens
fair.
far too often.
It backstabs you a lot. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, you don't just reverse wave someone like that. You know what I'm saying?
Toxic mode. All right. Anything else you want to say about new players? That topic in general. Anything left to say about it?
I gotta go pee. Sorry.
Okay, no, go. It's fine.
I'll wait for the break if you guys want to have like a little 5-minute. I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys actually. Okay, yeah, we can do a quick break because the next topic is
Yeah.
probably gonna be huge. Okay. Okay,
I saw
quick
we're
break
at the
then.
hour mark, so you know.
I'm sorry. Okay, we'll have a
I'm
quick
running real
break.
quick now. I gotta
You guys
pee.
as well at home. Okay, and we're back with our boys. Alright, we're gonna go to the next topic, which is NA versus Korea versus EU. This is gonna be a big topic, I feel. And first I wanna go to Ascient. Ascient, you've been playing on both the EU server and the NA server at a higher level. What do you have to say? Do you feel like a lot of skill difference between the regions? What is your opinion?
Honestly, it's sort of not really. It's kind of like this game, like players are either good or bad. And like I don't know, NA has like more good players, but it's not that much more. I feel like I don't know. It's like your average player in an NA game isn't better than your average player in an EU game. It's there's more people like Averse and whatever, Kira, etc., Hoko, I'm gonna say people like that you have to watch out for when it is in your EU games, but it's not like, I don't know, the average random individual is better. So I don't really know what to say about that. But I do play on NA with like 100 and something ping as well.
So it's more just NA has more players and therefore have more high elo level as well than EU does
think,
right
like,
now.
The best NA players, I don't think are better than the best EU players. I think Linkchu is better than anyone on NA by a decent margin.
Which is an EU player.
Yeah.
Alright.
That's all I have to say. I don't know. I assume Korea's the same. Just there's more players, so there's more good players as well. Yeah, sorry.
ImRhinne, you also play in Korea, of course, with 150 ping, and you play in NA. So what do you feel the difference between Korea and NA? Is the skill difference as huge as everyone made it out to be at first?
I think KR as a whole is better than NA is as a whole. Like even like their average, I think, is higher than our average. Like even like the mediocre diamond players there feel harder to beat than people in the top 50 in NA, which is fucking
Definitely. Why aren't you asking me? I play on Korea too, you know. I got
You suck at this
126 ping
game.
to
Oh,
Korea.
you do?
Yeah. What was your rank in Korea, bro?
Yeah.
So they fucked my ping. I'm 210 ping now, but before the patch, I got to Diamond 1, like 70 LP. I was like a game away from my Titan promos. I'm 210 ping now, though. I had like 100 games played.
Okay, I never even knew you played in Korea. I'm sorry, RATJAMMER.
That was literally what my stream was. I literally would only stream
I didn't even
Korean
know
games
you
when I
were
was playing
streaming at
it.
first, man.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry.
My whole thing
Anyway,
is I wasn't playing NA. My god.
I'm sorry for not knowing you. Okay, so you do think I saw a lot of mixed opinions, like especially around Uri. The people said like, and not even exactly at Uri, like before that actually, the skill level in Korea wasn't actually as high as it seemed, because people watch a lot of streamers, of course, and
That's copium, bro.
I see a lot of people say anyway, like, oh, these players are actually not that good. But you guys do say you've both played on the Korean server. You do say they are actually that good. They are better than NA.
I think around the point where you get to like mid-high diamond, that's when the player on average is going to be much better than even the players in our top 50 NA. I think they become much better, at least mechanically. Their decision making isn't all there, and you gotta wait for a mortal to get that. But just mechanically, they're so much better. There's so many less just straight pissers in my lobbies when I'm playing on Korea. Like when I'm
I don't know if that's like a
playing on NA.
population size thing or what, though.
Yeah, definitely. It's a population size thing for sure. They have many better players to be able to choose from while you're queuing up. And hey, I'm gonna get some gold players, you know? Like they look like they're brand new to the fucking game sometimes. And they're just not belonging in the lobby whatsoever. At least those high diamond players in an immortal lobby, they're at least able to survive and not turbo in themselves unless they run into just a huge player gap.
That's not true. I still think there are a lot of dogs in those queues. Like
Definitely.
they're just
But they're
fucking
not like
garbage.
the NA dogs.
No, I don't agree with that. I just think
Really?
they have a lot more players that are just better than our NA players. Like even like players that are like top of their character or whatever, right? Like some random fucking Kathy is gonna be on KR is gonna be better than whatever Kathy we have here in NA.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's like a population thing, like relative to like, or just because like NA is small relative to like how KR is. I don't know if that's just because like their top end of the ladder is just more competitive as a whole and breeds a better environment or what.
Do you think ping also matters? Because they also play in 2 to 7 ping usually. Does that make them look better as well?
A little bit, but I mean they understand matchups better than most of the NA dogs do, which is why I say
I think
that.
they just get to play more games, which is where the most skill difference that you see between them. They get to play more games, they have more experience, they're more knowledgeable in general for playing matchups mechanically.
Yes. I mean, yeah, Korea has been getting a lot of games, of course. NA has been getting games since season 1 as well. Not as much, but they definitely still do. No, I mean, you guys still do. However, if you look at EU, EU has been getting queues since a week or 2 or so. So our play base is still like developing, basically. That's why we don't have many top players yet, I feel.
Yeah, I think getting games matters a lot. Like I've queued at like 5 hours a day. I played 5 hours today. I played like 2 games or something. You know. Yeah. How can you get better? when you can't play the game.
I think Korea is definitely better than NA in a whole. I think in the top 100, maybe even some players in the top 50 of NA, I don't think a lot of them would break out of just Diamond 4 or Platinum in Korea. I think they would just be Heartstuck Diamond 4 or Platinum. A lot of our top 100 players. I think that is the main reason why Korea is better as a whole.
So you all agree Korea's the better region from what you can see in games or on streams, if you even watch streams? Or do you watch Korean streamers?
No.
You're just EU only.
I haven't watched them since Hyuni left, to be honest. But yeah, for me personally, I think Korea is likely the best region on average. I'm not talking about the very top players. Obviously, that's down to individuals more than a region. And then I'd say probably NA, then probably EU. EU hasn't had ranked or competitive lobbies for quite a while. And when we do get them, they're very infrequent. I mean, even the in-houses that used to happen have just completely stopped. So we've not really had an environment in which the players can get better. Obviously, there's players like Linkachu and Ascient they've also played on NA, so they have improved just through that. But I do think that not being able to actually get competitive lobbies is pretty significant.
Wait, EU players, I have a question for you. Why can ImRhinne get top 100 Immortal on KR, but you guys can't get top 100 on NA? What's going on?
I can't be bothered.
I mean,
doesn't ImRhinne have like 50 more ping than you guys to Korea?
I was top 20 in A last season.
Wasn't Linkachu rank
Which
1?
is pretty trash.
Sorry, wasn't Linkachu rank 1 in NA at one point?
I've got
The world.
Yeah, Linkachu was rank 1 in A.
Oh, yeah.
That's correct.
So why can't you get
that was a while ago.
RATJAMMER?
That had to have been before I joined the game because
Yes,
I've never
it
seen
was.
Before I joined the game.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think you were going to stop him, RATJAMMER. No,
You know what?
Got him.
I got nothing to say. I've never seen him play, so I don't have an opinion. I wouldn't know.
Both Ashen and Linkachu have been rank 1 before while playing on NA, so yeah, that
Yeah,
argument
but if
doesn't
they
go.
both been ranked 1 on NA, that means it would have had to been at least 6 months ago when I wasn't playing the game, when the game was absolute dog shit. So I don't know. Things change a lot.
Yeah,
I
what
haven't
point?
seen it
What
now.
point in the game was that though?
I think they're talking about closed beta, bro. This is irrelevant. Absolutely
it's-
irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean it's a while ago, but I was top 20 in A last season, playing like casually. I don't know. That was just when the ranked was released, so I decided to get them. And
If
keep
I
playing the
open up
game.
DAC, would I see you on DAC right now?
No, I don't play on my real account. But that was
I'm
like
looking you
start
up
of the
anyway.
season. Oh, I'm dog rank right now. I'm like gold or
Yeah,
something.
you've only played 13 games. You gotta pass.
Yeah.
You gotta pass.
13 games, I hit fucking rank 1. What do you mean he gets a pass?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was
It's
learn
13.
dial in.
You know what? Actually, 13
actually-
games with 23% win rate. What the fuck's wrong with you, man?
I actually remember
Look it
this. I killed Rin one time when I was learning dial in. I didn't even know what my buttons did, and he just sort of rode a bike into me and died. That's pretty funny.
No, that's normal. That's normal.
I see.
That's a NA's rank 1.
No, he's not rank 1. Kira clearly took him over.
Oh yeah, dude, I got
Superior
outscored
player.
really hard by the king. Fucking got me, dude. What a monster.
Anyway, so you hasn't been playing on NA anymore because we have our own region now. We're alive. So both Linkachu and
what's
Ashen.
Linkachu rated?
Our
Number 2 EU, alright, 23 games, respectable.
rank 1 is Oron. No one knows why. He's abusing Magnus or something.
I don't know why either, to be fair.
Exactly.
Oran, that's pretty cringe, actually. How are you rank 1?
It's a good point.
It's a pretty good question.
He's number 1
Bro,
in
you're
duos as well, I
popping off.
think.
I mean, what I want to know is why is the 3 people that have been ranked 1 at some point in this call and then RATJAMMER?
Yo, that's a pretty good
I've been
question.
top 10 every single time I play. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean,
Oh,
Well, that's
wow.
not-
That's
that's not
not
rank
bad.
one.
Not bad.
It's not rank 1 though, is it?
you know what? I think if I could play a little bit more, I'd at least throw out a little competition here right now. I literally haven't played all season. I started playing 2 weeks ago, and I'm already a Titan, and I just stopped playing on Hidden Titan. It only took me a week. I think I could go beyond that.
So you're gonna reach rank 1 in a week, we heard?
If I could get some fucking queues going on, it would
No
be
one
wonderful.
can rank 1 in a week because no one can get a fucking queue. I don't believe
Yeah.
it.
I sat in queue the other day for like 3 hours, and I just said, "Fuck this! I'm gonna go Smurf. I'm gonna go level in normals. I'm gonna play some fucking duos and squads with friends." Like it's a joke right now. We need something, man.
Yeah, same. I've done the same thing today, trying to queue EU, and I think that's a
I
real
got one
issue with
game
the game.
today.
Wow,
It's like
lucky.
a real issue.
One game all day, and then someone
How's a
dodged
ranked
when I
one
was.
player getting one game? Holy shit!
I know, right?
Okay, guys.
But
As I
yeah.
want to talk about the Korea region as well. We have our NA guys now in Korea, of course. They've been doing solo queue a lot. We saw a verse getting did he get rank 1 or 5? I don't remember. He got top 5, I think.
I think he peaked at like rank 4 or 5.
Yeah,
One of
he
the
got
two.
number one
He was
gadget at some
mid-tier, but
point. Yeah, exactly. Hoka's been
He
doing
lost
really
it.
well.
He got double lap, bro. He's double lap by the guy now.
Okay, look, doesn't matter. Anyway, the Hoko got high as well. I don't remember what his rank was. I have no clue what the other guys got. I know Pai has been having a difficult time because of
I
tree
think
and
Coco
stuff.
was top 20.
So pretty high as well. So seeing our NA guys playing on on Korea on the same ping level, what do you think that says about Korea then, considering a verse could already get rank 4 in like such a short amount of time? Does that not show that the skill level isn't as high as we think it is, at the highest level at least?
No, you're sending the literal best players in NA over to the region. Obviously, they're going to be the best players there as well. I don't think that's indicative of our region as a whole. It's just our good players being good. I think if you ask any of the actual good players in NA who would do well in Korea, I think they'd be right. And I think they would all be top 50 players. I think our specific 10 players are all top 50 world. And I don't think there's no question about it in my mind.
Yeah,
We sent our best players.
I'd agree. It's not a great sample size sending some of the best NA players over, and then surprisingly they do well. You know, that's what you'd expect. There shouldn't be such a massive discrepancy. It's not like all the Korean players are fake or anything, is it?
Okay, so you do think it makes sense for the top NA players to also be on par with the top KR players?
Definitely.
Alright. Very good. Anything else you want to say about NA, Korea, EU region? Or are you ready to move on?
Yeah, can all you guys from EU with 100 ping just fucking Q&A already? I'm over it. Let's just all agree Q1 region. Maybe
No.
we can take turns queuing EU and NA or something. I don't know, but I think
you
it would
queue
help
EU
a lot.
then.
I will queue EU. If you guys QNA, I'll queue EU.
EU
and
has
we can get both our
Q&A the
Q-spot.
whole season 1. We're done.
I will handshake you guys
We're
and
done.
rotate days.
We
I
will
just
move
wanna
on.
play, man.
Okay, we can
I
rotate
would
days.
play
That sounds
NA
good.
if it wasn't like
You
2
don't
a.m.
bitch about 100 ping. Like, honestly, that's fucking good ping for you guys. Like, what the
You're
hell?
a
100 ping is
Jackie
solid.
player. Hello, sir. You don't need
I
high
can
ping.
play more than just
I
Jackie. You're
fucking
just calling me a Jackie.
Sylvia on this. Dude, I helped for the fucking top accounts on this goddamn shitty
All right,
ass
we
server.
go on to the next
Absolute 90
topic.
ping.
Rin was top 100
Scaling-
Korea on 150 ping.
What
You
are
guys
your
have no excuse, okay?
Okay,
What are your-
but it's a 2 a.m. NA rank pops. That's a bad time.
Deal with it, man.
Yeah, I'm not
Yo,
playing it too.
I have
Just queue whenever you can. It'll pop.
no more.
some
They
people
literally
have
get as much ping to
jobs?
my server as I do. What the fuck? How are these guys complaining?
Dude, I play with 90 ping on NA, and you guys are bitching about 100. Like, what the fuck is that?
Right, just to stop. Have anyone actually bitched about the ping yet? We just don't
There
want to play on
was
NA.
a moment Asian said something about 100
If
ping.
I
There
can
was a moment.
if I can choose to play on my own server on a lower ping, or a higher server with higher ping, another server with higher ping, like, I'm going to choose my own server.
Oren, I got a question.
I've got no issue playing with 100 ping.
Oren,
Go on.
can you open your blinds real quick? It's looking kind of light outside right now. It's kind of prime time right now. You could be queuing NA right now.
It's 11 p.m.
Yeah,
for
there's
him.
One
One
second,
Yeah.
Let me just open.
Wait.
my... Oh my god, the blinding light! Oh my god, holy shit! I think God's coming to me. Oh my god!
You know what? You're doing right.
To be honest,
I'm
a native Jackie player over here is kind of lying to you guys. Qs won't pop
You can
for
close the
10
blinds.
years.
You can close the blinds.
Okay,
Okay, will do.
guys. Okay, one thing I want to say about the ping difference though. RATJAMMER,
apologize.
you're used to 90 ping, okay? Some of them have been playing on 20 ping or so. So swapping to 100 ping, the difference is quite huge. Is what they're used to. So it's not like they are like playing into this game at 100 ping right away. Don't you think that matters? I mean, you can't tell because you're
wish
not used to
I
low
could do
ping.
20 ping, but I don't even have the opportunity. You
No,
guys.
exactly. So you can bitch about it then. That was my point. You're not used to better. We are.
Privileged fucks.
Exactly. I'm sorry we're choosing to be privileged. Alright, can we go to the next topic now without you guys whining? We move on to
And it's
scale.
fucking trash.
We're
Yeah.
just burning time for you. This is for you.
True, this is for chill for me. I have company, thank you. Please go on, insult each other or something. Open your blinds again, something, or I'll do it. Okay, no, we move on to the next topic, scaling weapons. Okay, they've been adding, I think 1 or 2 scaling weapons. They're gonna add like a few more. But Electron Blaster is kind of broken. At least it was when the item first came out. What is your opinion on scaling weapons in general?
Make more of them. I want more. I think they're good.
Okay. Ron? What do you think?
I think some of them are implemented well. I do think some of them are problematic. I mean, obviously, when it was released, Team Spirit was an absolute mess. It has been nerfed multiple times since. Electron Blast is still very strong, but I think if they're implemented well and balanced properly, it's a fine idea.
Okay.
And I'd be fine with some of them being like more of them being RNG weapons, for example, Lennox's whip.
Yeah,
Whatever
you
that-
want to know
whatever
what's
that's
weird
called.
to me? It's really weird to me that they have scaling weapons, and it's not the legendary rare resource weapons. Like, don't you want those to be the weapons that scale really well into the late game to reward the people that get them late? It's kind of cringe when you're like, oh, I got this Monohoshi's out, and I don't want to swap it off for this RNG item. It's kind of weird because as the game progresses, your Monohoshi's out is now better than your Dainsleif or whatever the other one's called.
I mean,
Kind of odd.
surely though, with like 4-score etc. weapons, you get them late enough anyway, but the scaling part doesn't matter. If you just
Well, that's
you
the
know,
point. Is
put
so
them at the
someone
scale
that
value.
RNGs it early is no longer going to be like, oh, I have this bow that does like 100 million bajillion damage in spell amp, rather than a scaling weapon. So if it was scaling, it would make it even better later in the game, make it even more worth having late. And if you roll it early in the game, it's no longer a game-breaking thing where it's just like, oh, this is so oppressive. This guy got a force core before Wickeline spawned, you know?
I mean, I don't think you really can RNG weapons early now though. You can only can by getting tree and meteorite. Like, that's not really RNG. That's you've specifically tried to
It's
get a
controlled
4-score
RNG for
early.
sure.
So I think that kind of thing should be rewarded, which scaling 4-score weapons etc. would go against. And
You think that
the
guy
only-
should just be a god for 5 minutes?
Yeah. If you don't like it, contest his tree, contest his meteorite. I don't see the issue
It's
with
not
that.
that easy sometimes, but yeah, I do partially agree.
And then the only other example is getting off like first bear respawn, which I mean I guess you could get it off wolves or something, but
Well,
I feel like those are
there's-
late enough into the game to be fine.
There's other things like Cemetery Tree, which almost always goes uncontested, and if you just roll a meteorite early, you can still do it before Wick spawns very, very easily.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
finding very frequently I'm getting RNG items before Wick spawns by just playing the game normally. You know, taking maybe the free Cemetery Tree, or picking up a meteorite, rolling a Powder of Life, whatever, get one tree.
It's kind of arguable that the players in
kinda
your
easy.
game are being bad though, rather than there's anything inherently like there's something should be changed. Your players in your game should play better and take trees. You know, rather than just letting you get them.
I think all items should be scaling in some shape or form as well. Either that or remove a lot of the overloaded stats. I've always heard stories about Hotel Nadine, right? I've heard stories. I'm like, oh, just avoid it. It should be easy. I had a situation the other day. I ran to a hotel. I'm like, oh, it's just a Nadine. She's just got a blue weapon. This is fine. I'll just go run up and take the teleporter. No, I died. It was the first time I'd ever seen it. I couldn't believe I died to blue weapon Nadine during the animation taking teleporter. That shit shouldn't even be possible. Why is that happening with a blue fucking weapon? Let alone when she gets purple weapon. Holy shit. Just make all these items scaling. It'll end early game griefing too. Because they clearly don't like it that people are dying early in the game. They literally said in the patch notes, killing a player that's a higher level in game will net you more elo than killing a player lower level in the game. It would inadvertently fix all this griefing that they're trying to remove as well by increasing everyone's base HP and armor.
All right. What do you mostly think about, like, we have Electron Blaster, for example, which is like, it's best in stuff for Rosie, already from like level 6 on, basically. I mean, I think like level 9 or so it breaks even, but there's like no use for her to build a bow at, which is like strong early game. because her late game scaling weapon is already like equal to what it would be on level 9, and she's only gonna
There
get
is a
stronger
partial
for that.
reason.
Yes.
You do it to contest Hotel Tree. I see it. I see it a lot.
Yes, that is a thing, of course. But do you think it's like
Well,
fair to have? Yeah, sorry, right?
That was with blazing dress only. You don't do it anymore.
That's right. It's actually not that much of a thing anymore. I mean, you could with tuxedo, but it's not something you want to do. I mean, you could just build the Action Blaster instead. So it's a scaling weapon, which doesn't actually. You don't do it for the
You
purpose
still
of
see
scaling.
Aya's building it too. I mean, different characters utilizing different weapons. There's no problem with it. I is still also using the Magnum Bow, and I've been seeing ISIL sometimes go for it too.
I'm curious, why do you guys call Electron Blaster busted when only 1 out of the 5 pistol characters can really
I
use it?
honestly don't think it's busted personally. I
Yes.
don't want to hold that opinion.
It's just an exception. I mean, an example of like a weapon that's supposed to skill, but it doesn't actually skill that much because it already breaks even at level 9. So I don't even know what other weapons would be like similar to it. But don't you think that's like more game breaking than not really game breaking? But it's not actually
I
a
think
scaling
Electron
weapon that
Blaster is
much.
balanced. I like EB. I think it's in a good place.
All right.
So I suppose the idea is scaling items should all be transitional. Is that the concept you're going for?
Yes, thank you. But something you built from the very first start.
I mean, I sort of understand. Okay, an example I like is Tuxedo. I think that item's pretty cool.
I
Because
agree.
like you transition into it from Crusaders maybe, or stuff like that, or you can build it early and it's kind of weak. Because it's a pretty fast build. But I don't know. I don't really mind scaling weapons being the first thing you build while scaling items. It's
A lot of
fine.
what's viable in game is based on what you can fit in your route. Being able to have that as a first item, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if your character's kit inherently makes it fine to use early in the game, because your good kit will allow you to use that scaling weapon as you get all your other pieces anyway. It's not even that it's a transitional piece, it's just the character utilizes the weapon in the way that it should be utilized. Her strength makes up for its weakness. It's the same reason you don't see other characters going for the EB.
Okay, fair. Anything else you want to say on scaling weapons or scaling armor, as Ascient brought up the tuxedo? Is also scaling? No?
I have no
Yeah,
interest.
more
I just
scaling
want-
items.
I just want to say fuck Fireball.
Yeah, Fireball is
Sincerely, an Adrian.
Buff it, please.
Why does it have 18 attack power?
it's a bizarre item.
It is cursed.
I think
mean,
they just didn't want to
Fireball
make it too
exactly-
broken.
Isn't Fireball exactly like what Ayumi is talking about though? Like the kind of item you'd only want to build late game because it blows ass early game.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
not
like-
even that great later.
60 flat amp seems absolutely disgusting. If I had a 60 flat amp weapon on Sylvia, I'd fucking murder the entire lobby in 2 seconds.
Yeah, no. I think Fireball's it's too transitional. You cannot build it first item or you'll immediately lose.
Its routing's really, really rough too.
I mean, is there anything wrong with that though? That's the way Devil's Marksman is right now. And it's not even a scaling item. You're just forced to do that because it blows ass early game on every character.
I mean, I feel like you can play Devil's Marksman first Aya, but
You
I see
know,
your point.
I agree with you. I see ISIL using it too. Suddenly Rats, aka.
at least you have the option. It's not like forced to be bad. You can build a Devil's Marksman first, and you it's not
Dude.
like you're immediately losing yourself the game. If you build a Fireball first, you're like, what
Yeah,
are you
we
doing?
tried
with your
so
life?
hard to make it work. We spent all day trying to theory craft this one, and it's impossible. The best route we were able to get for it is like some scuffed ass archery school beach hotel shit, and it's like, dude, you don't even want to be in those zones while you're building it. You're gonna be so weak. You're gonna be dying to all the beach goers, the hotel tree goers, and then not to mention how contested all those other zones are early in the game. It's rough.
I'm curious, what's wrong with having an item like that though? That's like transitional. You only want to
No,
build.
nothing. I like it. I like it. It's just, as he said, too transitional. I
don't
don't
like-
think its stats also are like that great.
I personally don't like it because it feels too forced. I'm not sure of a really good word for what I'm trying to convey, but it's like it doesn't have many options, so that's why I don't like it. But I don't think
think
it's
it's even
bad
worth
for the
the
game or
effort.
anything. It's fine to have in the game. I just have a personal dislike of it.
That
Sorry.
60 flat amp isn't worth as much as the other throw weapons, which give amp and attack power. It even doesn't even come that much better to even be worth it. Did they make a legendary throw weapon that you just build out a force core anyway, or some other shit?
Yeah.
You probably are gonna have that by the time you transition into that piece of garbage anyway.
I think the main issue with the fireball is just the fact that the characters that can use throw are not particularly great with it. It affects Adriana's passive well, but realistically, against anyone with a brain, they're not going to stand in your fire very long. It's obviously good in Zahir, but it's competing with Ruthenium, which gives a lot of attack power and healing reduction. And Cicella doesn't really have many ways to apply amp that often. Like, she's got a Q, and that's about it as a spammable ability.
The reason people do build Fireball on Adriana, though, is because they can swap out, right? So whenever they don't use the Q, when they basically just want to use the ult or the other damage skills, they use the Fireball. And whenever they auto-attack or use the Q, they swap back to the other item they have on her, the throw weapon.
I will say that half the time I'm auto-attacking a lot, though, so I'd have to... It's kind of not worth the effort to constantly swap into Fireball. Maybe that's just me being bad.
Maybe, probably.
I'm not slim.
No, I agree with you. You're not bad.
Hard to do, for sure. That's one thing. Alright. Now we move on to the Q&A.
But my point of just last point of Fireball, why is it not like 30 plus 1.5 a level, etc.?
I agree. That would be a better change.
Anyway,
It does feel too niche.
I do really want more scaling weapons, though. I do think scaling is very, very healthy for the game, and it prevents all this griefing that they're objectively trying to run out of the game by increasing health, armor, etc. And killing someone of a low level. Dude, did you know it's actually such a big difference? I killed 2 people early game. I'm talking like, I killed someone at 17th and 12th one game. That's 2 kills. I got 4th place in the game. How much elo do you think I gained? 2 kills, 4th place. What do you think?
2?
I lost 7.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Just
unlucky.
Yeah, killing people early, really bad. Why not just make more scaling weapons if you don't want people dying early? If you're gonna make it that bad to kill someone early.
You still get an
So also
advantage
they
from it.
supposed to nerf Shoichi, man.
Alright, can we move on to the Q&A, guys?
Yeah. You got any
Yay.
questions?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, first of all, why are so many Koreans quitting? Guys, why? Do you know the answer?
They have more players playing, so they have more people available to quit.
Okay, clever answer. Someone else?
I'm not really aware if Koreans are quitting or not.
Yeah,
Are they?
Same, I heard they've been
People like
getting...
A lot.
quit, Dealer quit, NUS quit. I think a few others were considering quitting, but I don't know what the status on that is. Dealer's back now, though.
Yeah, Deal's back.
True. Yoni
Or
came
got
back as well for a
nerfed.
few games, but I don't know if he's gonna keep coming back.
I think there's a really toxic mentality in the higher elos where you'll bully people for what characters they play. I even experienced it when Bleeder Jackie was really broken. I was so down. I didn't even want to play the game for a little while. It is kind of rough how the top players treat each other.
Yeah, that goes for every region as well. People get bullied very often for the character they play, and I think it's very toxic as well because we bully people away from the game, from the character, and then we wonder why
that's
we're not getting
why
Q-pops.
That's why the Korea players explicitly said they quit the game. Is they're disrespected for what they would do, despite I don't care if your character is good or not. To be top 10, I think your character has to be S tier. If you're able to get top 10 on that character immediately is S tier in my mind.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
No, how does that make any sense? What? I is not S3
What?
and Jurek is.
I don't think you can climb to the top of a ladder without your character being the top character.
I'd probably disagree with
Oren, sorry. I mean, Oren's over here playing Magnus, but your region, man. I'm
that.
sorry.
No, I'm not. I disagree with that, but completely ignoring EU because again, I don't. It's not exactly up to standards of the regions. I'll agree, but why does it matter that a character's S tier or not? Like every character is playable. You can do well on
Yeah,
any
it's all
character. If
playable.
the player is a top player, even if they're playing what it would be classed as a bottom tier character, they can still reach top 10. They can still reach top 1. It's going to be more difficult, but it's still possible.
You think if I wait, that doesn't even make any sense. When Lead Island was considered B tier, I hit top 10 on that.
I
Yeah,
don't.
exactly.
That's some
'cause-
cap, dude. Lead Island's always fucking really good. Don't give me that cap.
He's
I
pretty
think
weak considered now.
I don't think if you threw the rank 1 player in all regions right now onto Bernice, I don't think they're going to be top 10. I don't think there's any world they ever hit top 10 on Bernice. Do you guys disagree with that? Do you think they'd hit top 10 on Bernice?
I'm gonna say Pit fucking rank 3 playing Hunwu.
Kyungwoo's really fucking good.
Now
He's
he is,
really
not
good.
back then.
I mean, I think there exists a theoretical player who's good enough at Bernese to hit top 10. I don't see why not. Like, NA top 10 right now has 9 different characters. Like, are these
Online
all characters
S
all
tier.
insane?
Now they're all S2.
I mean, let's look
yeah.
at the characters here. Let me open up DAC real quick.
I mean, I'll save you the effort. We have Alex. Is he S tier? I mean,
Yeah,
maybe.
he's really good. He's definitely a top tier.
I think
Well,
he's
to be
Sylvia, yes, top tier.
all of the
Vivi,
Alex
top
LP
tier. Heart, top tier. PP7's not actually playing League. He played Kyungwoo to get the yellow. PP7 is actually one of those theoretical players. I think this is also partially an NA thing, the fact that he's up there. But I think
Isn't that
Kyungwoo's
exactly
a
what
top tier.
Do you think Aya is S tier right now?
I do, yeah. I think I is top tier.
I want whatever fucking crack you're smoking.
How many characters are you classing as S tier?
I know. I want some
Alt
good.
ten.
At least 10. At least 10.
At least 10?
At least 10.
Then what does tier even mean at that point?
I think it just is the most viable of viable characters.
The character's viable doesn't mean it's S tier. Like, obviously, the example of Bernice is it's an extreme. Bernice is obviously a very all or nothing character. He has no escapes. Past his traps and his
I'm
ult.
looking at all the top
He can't jump
players
over
right now.
walls. If he gets caught out, he's dead. So he's kind of
kind-
extreme. But if, like, who would you not consider an S tier character? Might be an easier question.
Well, out of the top 10 characters that I'm seeing on the current list, the ones I wouldn't consider an S tier or just S tier in general, a top tier, would be the Yuki and the Hyunwoo, even though it says he plays Luke. He's been playing Hyunwoo. I think those are two exceptions on the NA ladder, are Yuki and Hyunwoo. But everything else looks about appropriate to me. These are all characters that are the best at winning games. They're, in my opinion, the best characters.
Well, yeah, that's what we were saying. It's more likely for people to get top 10 with an S tier character. If the character's broken, it's going to obviously help them get top 10 if they're also a good player. But you just proved our point. There are people that are getting top 10 without abusing these so-called S tier characters. You've just proved our point.
I think you're using a very, very niche example in a situation where, you know,
I mean, it can't be that niche. There's only 10 people in top 10. We can only work with so many people.
My point mainly comes to like the top 1 spot and being able to contest that top 1 spot. I think maybe top 10 spot is overstepping what I'm saying a little bit, but I really don't think it's possible for you to hit rank 1 on a lot of the characters for sure. Like your character has to be S tier for you to hit rank 1.
I'm gonna agree with that.
Okay, that's yes,
I
alright.
can't really comment because we don't have enough people in the EU to really have that sort of
True.
Question: do you
environment.
think? Wait, hold on. I don't even think you think that's true because Jackie was ranked 1 a while ago, and you didn't think Jackie was S tier.
Jackie is definitely S tier.
No, you think Jackie's S tier? Okay.
I think Jackie's S tier. I think Jackie is one of the best characters in the game right now. She probably is going to get more nerfs.
Okay.
Okay, next question. Do you
Wait,
feel like
no,
yes?
I'm not even talking about right now though. I'm talking about like old ass.
I was wrong when I said I don't think Jackie was S tier at the time. She is definitely S tier. She's been nerfed more, and I still think she's one of the top characters.
Okay, I'm gonna do one from Rinse Chat. What are the best changes or implementations you think that defnotOran did the last couple patches?
Food. They buffed heated oil into fried chicken, making it much better. Sure, they reduced the amount, but I think it increases the skill floor of the game, which we need to increase without touching the skill ceiling. I do think making it 700 was kind of a fuck up for them because it no longer incentivizes creativity. It no longer creates necessity of looking for these higher tier resources to make good foods for later in the game. But I really do love those kind of changes that increase the skill floor without touching the skill ceiling. And we need more of that, in my opinion.
Anyone else?
I'd be lying if I said I remember what they did in the patches.
Fair,
To
fair.
be honest. I do like the iron passives. Some of them not implemented well, but I like the idea. But yeah, truthfully, I can't remember half the things that happened in these patches.
Fair, fair. What about
It's all a
balance?
blur.
Do you feel like they're going the right way with balance in the last few weeks or so? Or do you think it's just going... It's like a train wreck?
It's mostly fine.
It's mostly fine. I agree. I think the balance is good.
Okay. Rin, any opinions?
I'm trying to think of like what my favorite changes that they've done in like the last few patches, and honestly,
Dude,
yeah,
it's
for me to,
fried
like, think
chicken,
of-
man. Just agree.
No.
I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about fried chicken, though.
Oh, I've got one. Region. Get fucked, Region. Holy
Yeah, fuck
shit.
Regen, let's go. All right, yeah.
Yes.
Fuck Regen, dude.
Thank
True.
God we had too many Region players in the EU.
It still
I-
happened, and
I
it felt
want
good
you-
what you said.
I want you to all know, anyone that plays Region that's watching, go fuck yourself. Thank you.
Chacha has been playing Region Yuki, I heard, on Korea still, so...
Oh,
Might not be completely dead. Yeah, that's what Alex said yesterday on an A-Court, so... We might still see it a little bit, but I don't know how effective it is now. Maybe it works on Yuki. I also saw it in my game today, but yeah. Alright. Rin, did you think of it yet?
Regen, fuck Regen.
Okay, that one as
I
well?
agree.
Alright.
Regen.
We'll go to the next question. Do you feel like solos is becoming a tier check in a more toxic manner than before?
Nope.
No? Oran, what do you think?
Not really. Quite a lot of the matchups are down to skill. The only thing I dislike, in particular in solos, is characters that can just one-hit KO you from nowhere. We've had some experience with, for example, Leon. He has been nerfed recently, but last patch he was just basically one-shotting people with his auto attacks, and that wasn't. It's not exactly a great experience, is it?
Nothing changed.
He still does a lot of damage, to be fair, but he does slightly less now. So it's a start.
Change.
Big change.
I don't
Actually-
like how some
oh,
characters can run someone down without mobility. Like Sua and Jackie are pretty good examples. There's a lot of cases where you just cannot escape them. Even if they fuck up multiple times, they're still able to just run you down and take you out just because they know they outstat check you in the current situation. And it feels really bad for some characters that don't have the tools to lose them. But beyond that, I mean, solos is fine. That's my only real gripe with solos, is when you don't have any agency to get away from some of these characters.
That's fair. So you think in this time that, like, those characters, it is kind of a not really a tier check, but more like how their kit works.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a tier check. It just sucks when that player can fuck up multiple times, and if they want to, they can still run you down infinitely and just ruin your experience because, you know, they want that kill, they want that elo, and they can get it even if it takes 2-3 minutes.
That's true. Ascient, any
I think
opinions?
that actually happened
Oren?
though. I can only think of one time it's happened to me in like the last patch, and that was in a normal game.
I feel like it's happened to me pretty frequently when I play characters that aren't Jackie, where I can just get infinitely ran down by a Sua or a Jackie, just because they want to, and it kind of sucks.
Okay, Ascent now? You get to talk?
I mean, solos is not a tier check. It never really has been. Probably never will be unless the balance
It's a
gets
brain check for sure.
really, really bad. Like you can win on any character, just play better. But I feel like characters in general, it should be easier to kill people. But characters like Sua running you down, I think is fine. More characters should be able to chase like that, but I don't know how you do that.
I personally would prefer longer fights. I know obviously that opens it up to third parties, but I don't think assassins, for example, are a healthy thing for solos. I mean, Shuichi's the most obvious example. He's been nerfed a lot, but I still don't think he's a great a great character to be in a solo environment. His entire kit is designed to basically kill one person every time he's also.
Did any of you
And
guys
it's
ever
not
see
a
that
great
Shoichi
experience.
clip? Did you see that Shoichi clip where he was fighting a Sua and he dodged literally every ability, not a single ability hit him, and he still died just being auto attacked to death? He
Wait, link
dodged
that
every
clip.
dash.
Let me see that.
I mean,
I don't have the clip available. I'm sure somebody has it. I saw it like a week ago. It was the most depressing thing I'd ever seen. And the Shuichi just literally got auto to death by her passive procs of her missing every ability. It was so fucking depressing.
I mean, if you're asking if I think Sura's dumb hero is kind of broken, then yeah, sure, no disagreement there. But that's mainly because she can disengage from any fight. She just dashes and ults, and
Yeah,
then,
for
wow,
sure.
she's gone. Wow, that's cool.
Someone in chat also asked when we're talking about Sua, do you think Sua would be unplayable if she had to hit her abilities? Because right now she's not getting unrewarded for
No.
like not hitting them.
I actually think she would be unplayable if you hit your abilities.
In her current
Maybe,
state, I think she would.
player's
Yeah.
the player.
I think they'd have to make her abilities easier to land if they were going to make it work, so that she needed to land them to get passive procs. Otherwise, she'd just do nothing. They are fairly easy to dodge, realistically. Obviously, if you
They're-
get hit by a
they're-
Q, you can just get comboed to death. But basically, they're not that hard to dodge. They're
When you
pretty
dodge it, it's going
telegraphed.
up or down. You go up or down, and you still get hit by the passive proc, even if you dodge the stun. Like,
Yeah, but
that's the most
if you
efficient
dodge
way
the
to
stun,
dodge.
then she's never going to land her E on you. It's basically impossible. It's too slow.
Well,
and
for
she-
example, when she's chasing you down, if you're a character without mobility, she will use that. You have to dodge up. She can just continue walking forward. She will always be able to get the auto attacks on you. She can commit to the fight. She doesn't even need to land it, for example.
I don't know. Maybe it's just an EU to NA thing, but I haven't really experienced being ran down by a sewer that much. The only times I die to a sewer is if I actually try and fight them.
Yeah, my problem isn't really necessarily her always running me down. It's how low effort she has to play to win. How unskilled it looks.
Yeah, I'd agree that in the current state it's not fun, but if they were to change the passive so it needs to be hit, they'd need to make her abilities easier to hit as well. Otherwise, she would be absolute dog shit.
I mean, I think the easier way to do it is if you wanted to hit her abilities instead of just being a passive bot, you can just take some of the damage from her passive and throw it.
Wait,
onto
is this the
her
clip?
abilities.
You got the clip linked in your chat, I think. Oh yeah, here it is.
Yeah, the Shuichi one.
He dodges everything. It's so fucking depressing.
You can check it or my PC will explode.
Let me tell you, it's so sad to watch. He dodges everything.
But he has trash items.
Yeah, he has one.
He
Vampire.
dodges everything.
She's also full build and he doesn't have anti-healing.
But that's like me saying I should be able to play Spell and Fiora and kill sewers if I dodge all the spells. Like, I'm just not going to do any damage. Actually, no, Spell and Fiora is kind of good.
He's running a literal
has
regular
all-
normal build.
Yeah, the only thing he's missing would be like a.
EOD is where the
Ne-
chest should be. He's really not missing that much.
No. He's missing an accessory because normally you'd run a like a fan
Yeah.
or something for a little bit more damage, but we're in a Chihuahua. But
It's not a little bit more damage; it's a lot more damage.
It's also anti-healing, which is a lot throughout the course of a fight, especially against a character that heals like Sua.
Guys, he
Normally
dodged
in this
literally everything.
I understand that he dodged everything.
Everything. He literally dodged everything. Not a single spell hit him.
EOD suit doesn't
Anyway.
really help him here. Like you can pretend the magazine is just a completed EOD suit. It's basically the same thing, and then just pretend he has no accessory.
So he just shouldn't be rewarded for his skill dodging literally everything because he's just missing his chest slot and he's using a slightly less efficient accessory.
It's a much less
efficient
efficient accessory, to be fair.
Okay,
That
let's move on.
extra HP allows him to fight longer.
having an
I
accessory.
don't know.
So he's missing an accessory, but he still dodged everything. I think he should win even if he's missing an accessory. He
Yeah,
dodges
he
everything.
should definitely win. And his combo is clean. He's picked up all his daggers. He's doing his combos. He dodged everything, man.
I mean,
No,
he got hit by
I'm
Honest
not disagreeing. I agree that the current state of Sua isn't healthy, but I do think if you were to change it, they'd need to make her abilities easy to land. I mean, that should just prove how easy the abilities are to land. How easy that to dodge. I mean,
I mean,
Ichi, to be fair,
I mean,
should in
that-
theory probably be her hardest matchup because she can.
Yeah, that's just Shoichi though. To be fair,
Yeah.
I think that Sua against another character would have had no problem if that was like a Luke or a Kathy, for example.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking if Sewer's kind of, I think she's pretty broken. Yes.
That's
Although-
pretty bullshit watching that clip, to be honest with you.
But I do think an accessory is like a third of Suichi's damage, so it's a very noticeable item to be missing.
All right.
Guys, he dodged everything.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
this
move on.
conversation's
Let's
going
move
nowhere.
on.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Thank you, Oran. Okay, next question, guys. Who, in your opinion, is the hardest character mechanically? Let's start with Ascient. Who do you choose?
The hardest character mechanically,
Yes, mechanically. Purely. Adriana. Okay, Oran?
It'd probably go Adriana as well.
Adriana as well. Rin, what about you?
Same.
Same for you. RATJAMMER? Different take?
Jackie. No, Adriana and maybe Shoichi.
Maybe
Shoichi, I'm not sure.
Okay, I don't think we can really argue for this one. I think Adriana definitely as well. Shuichi also already hard mechanically. It used to be Sylvia
I
from
think
what I hear, but I don't know about nowadays
that's
actually.
brainwash.
Hey, that was at the start when I started, okay? That's what people told me.
I
No.
think only bad players say Sylvia is hard.
One of them is like
Just roll your face on
top
the
10
keyboard, man.
NA or top 15 NA nowadays, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
NA, so what's the point?
Alright, anything else you want to say on top of this? Do you have many mechanically hard characters, you think?
Yeah, every time I play Jackie, I have a really hard time staying awake. She's a very mechanically difficult character.
I've watched him play Jackie, and it was the most cringe shit I'd ever seen. He kept trying to fight people when he would clearly lose. He is not made to play Jackie. He's not built for
I
it.
try to fight people because I don't want to be bored and run away the whole game like a little bitch. I don't play little bitch.
Okay.
You have agency. Pick and choose your fights intelligently. Don't just turbo in every option.
I fucking go in every fight and try to outskill them, but you can't do that on
Okay,
Jackie
this
because
is not
Jackie-
mechanical, guys. This
Yeah,
is
you
not
can't do that.
mechanical.
You can't do that on
Next
Jackie, can
questions.
you?
I feel this is getting too heated for the NA people.
Hey!
Okay, next question. Do you think players reach conclusions around character balance or item balance too quickly? Should they give more time? For example, learning routes and builds. And then William said as example. What I've been noticing as well, after every character's release after 1 hour, people are like, oh my god, this character is trash, this item is OP, this character is... They just have a lot of opinions for playing the character or item like 3 times or so. And then the day
I think he's
later...
talking to the wrong people.
Is he?
Oh, for sure, for sure. If I'm talking to actual competent players with real opinions, they definitely say I'm going to wait for more information, unless it's just blatantly broken.
Well, I'm curious, like how often has like the opinion after the first few hours like actually changed? For any character.
I mean, okay, let's for example use
Alex.
William. Yeah, Alex as well. Well, Alex hasn't...
got buffed.
Yeah, no, that's true. Alex got buffed first. I think the only...
It was knee-jerk buffs, to be fair.
It was enough to help him get to like a good level at least.
William also has received knee-jerk buffs. He's been hotfixed. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, that's also true. But William was still like considered decently bad for a lot of people, and then after like a few hours or so, people were saying like, "Oh, William's actually really good." So do you think people are too quick on it, or just too bad to realize how to play the character and should give him more time?
I don't think people are too quick on it. I just think some people that shouldn't be giving their opinions are giving their opinions, and some people are listening to people that shouldn't be giving their opinions at the time.
I think that's just the internet, though.
Yeah, it's just the internet for sure.
That is indeed the internet.
Like it, quite often that it's pretty obvious in the first few hours if something's like broken, and half the other time it's just people just exaggerating. Like I think on Adela release when she was one killing people, I think we all knew she needed to be nerfed.
Yep, I agree.
And when Bernice was released and he was CCing people for 5 seconds and then auto-attacking them to death, I think we all knew that wasn't exactly great.
Man, he was doing that for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight, just straight stat checking every melee too. It was so unfun.
And
The game was actually unplayable.
His traps armed in like 0.7 seconds or something, so you could just throw them on top of you while you were running and it would activate.
I'm trying to
Like,
think. Is there a single instance of a character coming out where our opinion of them actually changed? Like Bernice, no. 11, no. Leon, no. William, no. Sua, no.
I think
Dylan,
Alex
no.
is as close to an example as we're going to get.
Buffed, so it doesn't really count. He got buffed like 5 times before anyone like said anything about him.
For sure.
I mean, I know people thought Adela was bad for about an hour before they figured out how to hit spells.
Yep.
So
I remember
this was
actually
bad.
hearing a lot of propaganda of Adela bad. You're right.
To be fair, it was pretty hard to hit her spells if we never played before.
People were
Chap.
playing some real scuffed builds on her at first too, until they learned, oh hey, let's just build her full amp and one-shot people.
Okay. Let's go to the
Then
next
I have
one.
another question. Is there an
Yes.
example of an item where that has happened?
Of an
Of a
item?
what? Sorry.
Yeah, an item where we've like changed our opinion on after a while. Because I actually can't think of one for that either.
Not
Question, right?
I think EB was like considered really bad. I think a lot of Razzies were like saying the sky's falling for a moment.
That was
Yeah, but
propaganda.
that was before the patch actually
Definitely,
came live, though. I think for items it was only before it went actually live.
I think there was a moment where Sylvia players, Rin is a good example of it. We're saying the character got absolutely gutted one patch. That was some of the biggest
We found
propaganda.
a new route after.
Yeah, then a new route came out. Yeah. I've heard it all before.
What do you mean? Yeah. Dude, literally the only viable route at this time was Devil's Marksman. If we were forced to play Devil's Marksman again, so we would literally be a dead character. Then Bo was discovered, and that was so.
Yeah, I do like how patches can sometimes create innovation.
Well,
I think
the
it's really
Boa route was found actually before the patch even happened. It's just
forced innovation
popular.
is really healthy for the game. I like how they are forcing
What
Lennox
part
to
of
start going
what
hotel
part
shit
of
too.
the pathing for Boa was found before the patch happened? Did you not understand, you fucking Jackie mean?
Huh?
Okay,
What'd you
calm
say?
down.
I'm getting triggered right now.
Guys, I
Okay.
can't hear Rin. Can you guys hear Rin?
Oh, you guys.
Yeah. It was telling you the boa route was found before the patch.
Thank you, Ashen, for clarifying.
This is weird. I can't hear Ashen either.
Okay, question. Next one. Should the highest skill cap characters also be the best? Like an Adriana or a
No, and if
Shuichi?
if you think that, you're genuinely brain damaged.
I feel like we're reaching the toxic moments of this podcast now. Okay, you all say no? Oran, Rin, you as well?
Q&A, let's go.
I didn't hear the question. What was the question?
The question was, should the highest skill cap characters also be the best ones, the best performing ones?
No, I prefer when the Jackies are the most viable characters.
Dude, I mean, you just run them over. It's really easy.
Yeah, dude. They literally don't even do anything. All they can do is third party.
Most of them are brainless.
Okay, but serious answer, if you make high skill cap characters like better, if they play well, then you're just creating possible situations where you have a good player playing it well and you can't win. Like,
The case with brain dead characters too.
yeah. I
So
agree.
this is
They
gonna
shouldn't,
be
you shouldn't let things be better than other things in general. It's just bad.
Yep. This is gonna be a hot take. I think there should be like 5, 10 different ways you play the game, and they should all be viable. I don't care what kind of skill involvement you have. I think there should be a bunch of different ways to play the game, and the game should just overall be balanced. Because then you're going to get into a situation where you can only release certain kinds of characters, and you can only buff and nerf certain kind of characters certain ways, and that's not fun. I want to have different ways to play the game. If you just have one way to play the game, you're annihilating a certain niche player base that wants to play another way. Like Rats. I want Rats playing the game. I want him trap gaming. I think it's fun. I think someone playing intelligently around cameras and third partying and picking and choosing their fights, I think that's the way you should play the game, and it should be fun. But overall, you need to balance your game around people doing that thing and make it so everyone has a fair chance to be successful. And that's why I like a lot of the point systems too, where they nerf placement and they reward kills. Not only has that caused oh my god, I'm going blanks. Guys, just pick it up from there.
I wasn't following any of what was just said. I can't pick anything up.
I
I
got
think
you.
there should be a lot of different ways to play the game. I like ways to play the game that are different.
You ready? Hot
Well-
take. I see no reason why a character like Kathy should be viable when a character is much cooler to watch like Adriana exists.
No, Kathy is super fun to play though. I like the way Kathy plays. I like the way Jackie plays. I like the way Suddenly Rats plays. I don't want everyone
Oh.
just playing Hedgen and one-shotting me and playing for the victory, you know?
All right, so I disagree with your opinion. Do either of the EU players have an opinion?
I'm
Sorry.
gonna have just a million Sylvias running me over in the lobby. That's just the only way they want you to play is high skill cap.
So the original question was, should high skill cap players be better at high ranks, right?
High skill cap characters,
In
fun
general.
players, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think they should to an extent. If you're playing a high skill cap character at the very top and you're only performing as well as, I guess we'll use Jackie again, being played at the very top of Jackie, which is obviously going to be a much lower level, it doesn't exactly seem fair, does it? For example, if you take the best Adriana player in the world and they're only performing as well as a Jackie, it doesn't exactly seem fair.
The Jackie's
How?
playing the game differently than the Adriana. They're playing completely different the way they play the game. The Jackie is for the most part playing around camera vision, third party, and picking and choosing fights that they know they can win, that they've scaled up to. They're farming like Nadine essentially. It's a different way to play the game, and if you cause that to not be the way you can play the game viably anymore, you're just making this player base not play the game anymore. Like why would I play the game? Why would I play Jackie if I can't do that anymore? I might as well just learn Adriana or either that or just not have fun playing the game anymore and just not play. Because now my way I found fun playing the game isn't viable. That's not good. Just balance the game around people playing these different styles. Why would they ever release a simple character at that point?
Realistically, not every way to play the game is going to be viable. It's just
Every way
that's just
to play
impossible. That doesn't happen in any game. You know, you could take League. Should you be rewarded for just sitting in the jungle the entire game? It's a way to farm gold. It's not a way to win the game though. Like, you can't make every single different way to play the game viable. Like, for example, if you wanted to be a fishing only Linux player, should that be viable? Like, where do you draw the line? Where do these things become just dumb?
It should
Like,
be
if you want to
playable.
be an ISO that literally just doesn't fight anyone for the entire game and just makes traps, should that be viable? Like, is that where you
Yes,
draw the line?
and they're balancing it properly, especially in tournament settings where they do things like reduce the amount of points you get for placement because now he's forced to get kills. If he's
We're
winning the
actually
game,
not balancing it properly because if you look at the Korean ladder, nothing but ISOs are fucking climbing right now because they're just abusing the fact that traps are overpowered as shit and ISO can abuse the fuck
for
out of
sure. I hope ISIL receives some nerfs, but you don't see him played in tournaments.
because they changed the rules for tournaments, but tournaments isn't solo queue. The vast majority of players who play this game will never play in a
No,
tournament.
they are starting to do that for solo queue too, though. Like they're reducing points and
They did the exact opposite actually. They make it so if you get kills later in the game, you get more points, which is exactly what ISO does when he does that playstyle. So
for sure. But that was a way of them nerfing cheeser characters too, like Bleed or Jackie, for example, that would just get 2-3 kills in archery range or alley and then do nothing the whole entire game, just fucking rat, and then third party final zone. That playstyle has been almost completely gutted, and you don't see it anymore in higher elo.
I don't think that's true considering there's a Jack that is ranked 3 in the KR ladder right now, I believe.
He's not playing Bleeder, he's playing something completely different. Which, by the way, I just want to say he's kind of using my build, guys. Look at the plan, I'm kind of happy about it.
Why don't we just invite him then?
He doesn't speak English, unfortunately.
Maybe he'll still be more. Okay, anyway. Next
Third eye
question.
translators.
Can I go to the next question, guys? Yes. So we saw for Irby the squads format being used, first international event. Do you guys think moving forward we should do every international event in a squads format, or would you also like to see solos or maybe duos?
I personally prefer duos over squads.
I think they should do all of them. I think
All
it
of
would
them.
be really, really sick, actually.
But how often would that even
Honest-
be then?
I don't know how often they can just afford to do it. I think it would be very exciting because, you know, obviously we don't have any brand names at the moment, but I don't think teams are going to, for example, have like 5-10 different players having a solos team, a duos team, and a trios team. Instead, it would be, say, a trios team that would be playing, and then maybe you throw them down into multiple like tournament styles. Now you have them playing in duos, a certain squad of them playing duos, and then have all of them playing solos, and all of it clashing together. You could have so many different fun ways of having all these players still interact with each other and play multiple formats and have multiple viable strategies, character combinations.
Okay.
I think it would be a lot of fun.
Okay, I think squads is just a bad game mode. It's so boring to watch. Like, nothing happens.
I think you have a really poor opinion because of the tournament you just watched. I think if it was all very high level play, it would be a lot more exciting.
I mean,
Yeah, I disagree with that actually.
I was Pog champion every single time I saw USA engage a team fight and play it out. Holy shit, those guys were clean.
Well, I don't know if I'd say I was Pog champion considering they were just steamrolling inferior players, but like when Food Truck and Team USA were fighting each other, those were pretty fun fights to watch. I think the biggest
Yeah,
reason why
I
is
mean,
just because
it was
the team
mechanical.
there.
sure, but there's like one fight every 5 minutes in the game.
Same thing happens in League though.
You would also get much better fights if it was all higher tier players, in my opinion. you would get a lot more like USA and Food Truck clashing, which was super hype.
Yeah, that is definitely arguable. I think when it's just there's actually two or three real teams and everyone else isn't a real team, it probably does make it a lot worse.
I think the
don't
duos
disagree with that.
format is better, and I do agree with you on that. I think duos has a lot more skill ceiling. There's a lot more routing options, and it's just better overall. There's a lot less cheese that you can perform. It feels a lot less metagamey, in my opinion. But I think squad still has a necessary place within the game.
I'd be fine if they did an event for each, 3 separate events, rather than mix them up mix them together, because you can't expect the best squads players to also be the best solo and also best duo players. So I'd rather the events be completely separate. I know. In this example, for example, Team USA is the most obvious example. Was also a very good squad team, but it's not going to be like consistent throughout everything.
You could argue that our other American team was just a really, really good squads team, and they don't perform in the solo ladder, but still they didn't come up to par with with Food Truck and Team USA when you were watching them go head to head. It was definitely a big difference.
I mean, I personally wouldn't.
I think if you're best at the game,
I also personally wouldn't say the other US team was a good squads team per se.
They got higher in Immortal squads on Korea than Team USA did. And everyone always hails them in NA as some of the best squads players.
Who hails them in NA? I think they're all bad players.
Yeah, that's definitely something you'll say. I don't know. I feel like I've always heard a lot of people praise them and say they're really, really fucking good.
Wait. Which are we talking about? Are we talking about Chef? Are we talking about Team USA?
I'm talking about the other USA team.
No,
No
they're
Chef.
bad players.
No
They're not good. They're not good as a squad. We can tell this by the fact that they were getting steamrolled by teams playing on 150 ping over to fucking KR or whatever.
Were they?
The Taiwan team wasn't playing from KR. They were playing from Taiwan. So
I thought they had like 60 ping.
Yeah, whatever it is, who cares? That's still a pretty big advantage, isn't it?
Kind of, I guess. I wouldn't know. I play on 90.
I mean, when you compare to people playing on 2 ping, it's quite huge. Especially for squad tournaments. But yeah, I'm not gonna give my opinion about the NA teams. Next question.
Probably
Sure,
safe.
you want to burn some bridges? You want to burn some bridges?
I have no bridges with them, that's the thing. Anyway.
Rin, you want some gasoline, bro?
You fucking burn them, what do you mean, man?
Okay. You talked a bit about the broken character release, like Adela. Who do you think had the worst character release, as in the weakest? Who was really underwhelming?
11. I heard Adriana was abysmal too, but I didn't play during that.
Yeah, no, Adri was the worst. 11 good compared to Adri.
Is good compared? What the fuck?
Adri was so unimaginably bad.
I wasn't playing them, but I've heard she only have like her ult was weird. You have to activate it and then
her ult was like
in like 10 seconds.
It was just fucked up.
That sounds
She sounded awful.
They literally doubled her Q damage in like a hotfix, and she was still terrible, like completely unplayably terrible. And that was with double Q damage. Compared to release. Yeah, Adri was by far the worst.
I think only Ascient's actually played long enough to give you an accurate answer to that question.
Yeah, no, that's
because
true.
for the rest of us, I think they choose 11 has been the worst so far.
Definitely.
Well,
from my experience.
Alex wasn't that bad on release compared to
Alex
11.
was kind of fine.
I think Alex has just always been difficult
Yeah.
until they buffed him way too much into the point where any brain dead player can pick it up and get a 25% win rate like Ren.
I think the main issue with Alex was people try to overthink it and weapon swap until people realize that just use two-handed
zip
blow them out.
last mono Hoshi's out.
Yeah, just use a sword and just switch to pistol for a reset every once in a while.
Pinky out. Honestly, just carry around a white gun for the pistol reset when you're running away like a bitch.
And ironically didn't make an accessory because I just wanted to carry a gun with me and I didn't have the slots. The character was fucking dumb.
Yeah, I think if people had figured that out earlier, he probably wouldn't have been buffed so much. But people wasted time trying to weapon swap and be fancy and, use their brain.
Alex definitely had design flaws, but he was decently playable.
Very fair. You guys have 2 more questions for you. Then you're free to go. How do you guys feel about Cicella having reloaded kit and barely being touched? Do you guys even agree that she has a loaded kit?
Where's the loaded kit?
Cicella.
I think Cell's kit's fine.
You
I think
it's
Pedal
alright?
Torrent isn't fine.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they're making it so her ultimate is no longer global. That's something that should have happened fucking years ago. Because the game's been up for years, obviously.
Yes, 5 years now. Anyone else an opinion on that? Y'all think Cicella's fine?
No, but it depends what we mean by fine. Like,
Just her
think
kit in
Cic-
general.
So, like, I don't like the concept of you hit a character and then she does more damage when you hit her, and so you don't want to actually hit her. I don't like that.
I think it's fine. Just don't give her fish and chips when she gets really low. That's the most bullshit part.
Mind the fish and chips.
She
I
has
didn't
all
like-
the tools to kind of edgy on the fight. Why is she allowed to just intentionally get low and then one-shot you because she has the tools to do so? That's definitely odd.
Her
And then
abilities cost
obviously-
HP, so it makes sense for her to have like a regen passive of some sort, right?
If your
Yeah,
abilities cost HP, pop some food and don't have the passive going. You shouldn't be
I mean,
getting that low intentionally.
I'm fine with the region part. My issue is the massive amount of skill amp she gets for free when she gets low, because then she just combos you with Pedal Torrent and one kills you.
How much skill amp is it? I actually don't know. Do any of you guys know how much skill amp she actually
Like,
gets?
40 something, isn't it? Is it
Something
40? Yeah. I don't know. I don't play that character.
Something
Keep
like
in mind that
100%
interaction
much?
keep in mind that interaction with Caltrops, and it's all true damage. There's literally nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's
Caltrops are
40 at max
bullshit.
rank.
Especially when you have Pedal Torrent, Caltrops are really bullshit.
Flat
I do
amp.
agree with that.
Yeah, 40 flat amp at max, which is insane for a passive.
I guess. That's pretty high, I guess.
That's pretty high, yeah. I mean, it's for free,
It's
so.
like an item and a half.
Alright. Next questions, guys. This is gonna be a big one. I'll post it in chat as well. What would you all think about a change to reward damage dealt but had a modifier?
I'm
Skating
already gonna say no.
LP
I'm already
gains.
gonna say no.
I know. Okay,
Can you
based
just
off
ban
timer
whoever said
character
that?
level, I knew you guys were gonna say no about this, but I still
I'm
want to
not
bring it up
I'm not
anyway.
touching this one. You guys pick it up.
Rin, European. Actually, no, I don't want to talk to Rin. I want to talk to Oran. What do you think?
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to understand what you're saying. What?
I don't know what you're saying.
I put the chat question in the chat.
Oh,
box.
Just
it's
read
in your
chat, bro.
chat.
Just read chat. It's a little cringe.
I don't in the chat what.
Okay, I'll read again. What would y'all think about a change to reward damage dealt but had a modifier skating LP gains based off time or character level to reward characters that aren't good at securing kills but are still playing aggressive while not promoting griefing?
Dude, you guys want to
What?
queue up as regen builds and just hit each other? We can find
What-
a nice
what-
little corner of the map.
What does that question mean? Are you saying that you should be rewarded LP for doing damage?
That's what it looks like.
I think
That's what it sounds
That's
like.
kind of,
A lot of-
kind of dumb.
a lot of people have issues with their kills getting stolen, of course. Do you have any other
Hey, can
alternative, or do you
Iron
think?
Player give me another opinion? Can I get another Iron Player in here? Can we get an Iron Player's opinion in voice comms right now? I
You're
kinda
already
need
in here,
that.
bro.
I'm already in here. Hello. Oh wait, no. I'm silver. It's okay.
Yo, Rin, chill, bro. We're NA.
Fuck, I forgot I gotta get your back. Wait, no, I hate NA. Fuck you.
The fuck. Rin is obviously Korea.
Korean dude. Fuck off.
Yeah, just ban whoever posted this, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay.
don't want to touch that. Can we move on to the next question?
Okay, bonus question. RATJAMMER, did you ever try auditioning for Loki? Isn't
Try
Loki
what?
the... Is it a god? Is it a demon? I'm not sure.
Oh.
Dude, I actually grew out this hair during Corona. I haven't gotten a haircut since. Usually I'm clean cut, believe it or not.
Yeah, he did say before this podcast that he regretted not getting a haircut beforehand. And everyone's been saying you're handsome, so... Everyone's been saying that about all
I
of
do
you.
like the
They're
hair,
good
though, for sure, for
liars.
sure. I'm kind of keeping the hair now. It's kind of becoming trademark. I'm getting a lot of comments on it lately. I kind of like it.
Alright. I guess this is about it actually. This is all the questions I had, all the questions Chad had. So, any closing comments? Ashen, let's start with you.
I have nothing really to say. NA sucks, blah 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 blah.
Thank you. Thank you. Former #1 world watch the player nowadays. Oran, we go to you.
Hi. Bye.
Hi,
What am I
bye.
meant to say here?
Very good, very good.
NA sucks, I guess. EU sucks. Everyone sucks. Let's just all go play
Everyone
League.
sucks.
Actually, League sucks too. Let's go play Dota.
Dude, I hate Dota. No.
Oh wait, this is that game too.
Okay, Rin, your call. Last
Stop
words.
giving opinions on shit you guys are uneducated about. Looking at you, every single tier list maker ever. Fuck all of you. That is all.
Thank you.
Fuck there.
What is your Twitch? Is it just Rin? ImRhinne. Perfect. RATJAMMER? Last words?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It was fun.
Oh, the nicest person. Thank you.
Ooh.
Ooh. Go fuck
Shout out
yourself.
to RATJAMMER as well.
I'll be back.
Don't bother.
Thank you guys as well for being in the podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it. Sorry if it was too long. Sorry not the questions were all that great. And yes, I'll definitely ask you guys again if we're gonna do this again. Yes? Okay. Thank you guys so much.
I'll be around.
Thank
Enjoy
you
the
still
viewers as
stream.
well. Yes, thank you. Alright, bye bye everyone.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Have fun with
Guys.
it 24/7.
Thank you.